Hello.
I just hope it doesn't go straight from that locker to the trash.
Speech. And there we have it, the Eighth Circuit citing the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's what the court held on this specific law these officers are trying to actually enforce here. Arkansas's anti-loitering law is a content-based restriction because it regulates speech based on the topic discussed in
I
the
am
idea of
painting
message
right
expressed.
now.
It applies only to those asking for charity or gifts, not those who are, for example, soliciting votes, seeking signatures for a petition, or selling something, or complaining about rents too high,
I just
or
use a
complaining about
little
police misconduct.
pencil for all the fine
Depends on the communicative
detail work.
content of the speech. Because that law targets only a subset of speech that meets these criteria, specifically asking for charity or gift, panhandling, it is a content-based restriction. So under strict scrutiny, Arkansas's anti-loitering law can survive only if it's narrowly tailored to further a compelling interest. In that case, Arkansas offered no
Hello.
justification for its decision to single out panhandlers from other types of solicitation. The anti-loitering law is under-inclusive and consequently not narrowly tailored. So I don't know if there's some other Arkansas law here that these two officers thought that they were enforcing, but I believe this was it. And it has already been ruled unconstitutional by the Eighth Circuit. I know, unbelievable. And even if it were not unconstitutional, Jeff's conduct still didn't fall within that statute.
I'm
Because he
painting.
wasn't harassing anybody. He wasn't impeding any traffic at all. This was just pure First Amendment violation. So like he's done elsewhere, I really hope that Jeff Gray sues here and gets a settlement from Motorola.
I'm
And
painting.
also an order requiring mandatory training for all of these officers on the First Amendment because they obviously are completely Thanks for watching. Please subscribe up here and at the blog.
I am on the night shift, Cheryl.
I'll link the original video and other information in the first pinned comment below. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear
Doing
begins.
some painting while Jack's sleeping. He's doing good. having a snooze right now in his bed.
Because on the one hand, what we're going to do tonight is look at the Old Testament, as the title says, specifically
Did you know that from the second you've been injured in
the
an
idea
accident,
And
of
I'm painting Tweety Bird.
can we look
in
at only the
Ontario,
Old
the
Testament
law
and the
limits the
idea
amount of time you have to file a
of
claim.
the Christian
The question
Godhead
is,
in it,
are you
okay,
taking
without
the
any
right
appeal to
steps
the
to
New
comply with
Testament.
these limits before your time
So
runs
on the
out?
one hand,
If you've been
if you're
seriously
a believer,
injured,
if you're
it's
Christian,
time
this
to
is
call
like, wow,
Presto
this
Live
should be
now.
interesting. This is good
One
news.
call,
I'm sort of
that's
already on
all.
board. But on the other hand,
For a free
in the
consultation,
process of doing
call
this, I do
1-800
have
Justice.
certain aims as far as
Closed captioning is brought
why
to
we
you in
bother
part by
jumping into the
Rogers
subject. I'm going to
Xfinity.
explain
Get
that
on
as we go
Canada's
on. And in
most
the
reliable
process
internet.
of sort of
Learn
trying
more
to
at
hit those targets
rogers.com/Xfinity.
and show you how to look at certain Old
I
Testament
don't do enough
passages
lives
as
for
far
you to
as
have a wrench here before, Cheryl.
you're going to see some things that are going to be very new and might even be a little edgy or a little scary. I sort of doubted tonight, but in other weeks that might be more of the case. What you'll see tonight is very useful in a number of ways in terms of apologetics, in terms of our theology, our doctrine,
I
the
am
doctrine
painting,
between the
as
Testaments,
I've said
Jewish
many
evangelism,
times in the last 6
all different
minutes.
sorts of ways that this is going to apply. It's going to be different in some places. So with that in mind, when I ask about the Old Testament, the Jewish Godhead, first question that might pop in your head is, what's the payoff? Why do
No
we need
worries,
to
Cheryl.
think about this? We already have the New Testament.
You would have had one before now, but I can't remember the last time I went live.
So this looks like some kind of personal spa or something. I've never seen it. I can't guess what it's worth. Could be worth $10. Could be worth $1,000. I don't have a clue. I know there's definitely some days where I might pay $1,000 to have a home sauna. The rest I'm gonna load in the dumpster and I'm on my way.
The payoff, again, is going to be Jewish evangelism. If you have a friend who's a Jew,
Oh yeah, just like I remember it.
one of the things
One
that they
man's
stumble
treasures,
over
another man's junk.
easiest is the idea
This
that
next
if
that's
how
a
can
good
you
one.
worship Jesus
This
if
is
you're
actually very
monotheist?
cool.
How can I accept
Spanish.
the idea that Jesus is God and God is God
The matching
and
tray.
not
That's
be
another
arrogant?
$75.
I feel like I keep missing comments that you're seeing, Cheryl.
And just giving up something that is essential
That's some
to the Bible if you
anniversary
claim to
Coca-Cola
believe it.
bottles.
You got this thing, the Old
Things are
Testament,
about
and you
30
got the
bucks a
Shema,
piece. See what
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our
I'm
God
glad
is
they're
one.
still in the box.
Right away in there,
There's
you
two
can just have
more.
a variant.
This Coca-Cola
So we're going to be looking at that, and in succeeding weeks, we're going to see how
and Clueless.
once you're sort of over the hurdle of divine plurality,
Very interesting.
this
This is a
plural
thimble
idea,
set for
which we're going
sewing.
to hit tonight,
These are all the
you
presidents.
start to get into
Washington,
Old Testament
Abraham
doctrine,
Lincoln,
believe it or not, this was
Spears.
Jewish
$5
theology
a
up
piece.
until the
Yeah,
end
you
of the
see, that's a
second
couple
century,
$100.
right after the
Look at
Christian
that.
era.
That's an old J.C.
It
Smith.
used to be
Tom Hanks
hard to
has
find
one of the most
kosher
elaborate typewriters
in Judaism
in the
to
world.
believe
And
in
I've actually
what
sent
they
him a
called
couple
then
because
two
I've met him and
powers
he's a
in
nice
heaven.
guy.
Two, like two Yahwehs. Not one good and evil.
Can't seem to find name drop on here.
That was
I'll tell you
normative
right now, that's
Judaism
another $100 bill,
until
if
after the
not
Christian
more.
era. So we'll be hitting that
This is
the
old.
second
Look at
week.
this
You
here.
might get a little taste of it tonight. We got to get over this divine plurality
There's
here
another
before
one
we
of
get
these
to
old leather
what you can really
collectible
show a Jewish friend in
suitcases.
terms of, hey, your Old Testament is not really
There's another
different
one
than
of
the New
these weird.
Testament.
This
It's
one's
just
all
you've got to look at it
aluminum.
a little bit
You just don't see
different
things like
angles,
this
and
a
you're going
lot.
to come out the same place.
Something
The
back
other
here.
is apologetic
This is
discussion.
all
Now,
wood. This
in
is
terms of
original. This is real deal
your
right here.
experience, you may have run into certain groups. Jehovah's Witnesses would be
You know
one.
what? That's going with the other two names we looked
Mormonism
at. We got a mirror collection going on.
the
Okay,
other. You
I'm
might have seen
definitely missing
schools on
something that's
television
not coming through
where
here.
academics are talking
Tell
about
me what's
Christianity,
next behind the
and it's
door.
you don't
And
recognize it as
thank
the
you, Cheryl.
Christianity you're familiar with,
Oh boy. A
and
T card.
also
That
sort
little
of
T
weird
card was
ideas about Jesus that you might
$150
see on
bill
TV
all
or
day
hear on the
long.
radio.
This
All
is
of
an
these
old church
groups
coffee table. They used to
are
sit these in a
saying
ship.
things about
And
Jesus
the reason it's got
that
these edges on
in
it
the
right
course of the
here
4 weeks
is
we're
your
going to cover
drinks
here,
and stuff could not
going to
roll
show
on
you
the
from
table.
either the Old Testament or just how to understand the
$75.
Testaments in tandem,
This is a
how to
wall
deal with that.
divider
Now,
with branch
for
under
Jehovah's
200
Witnesses,
I get $125 for that little table right there. There's a nice old shaving gear. That's gonna be about $250. You know,
What
I
up,
don't think
801? I looked to see if you were live and you weren't.
I'm gonna take these and get them checked out. Win, win, win. This has been a good day. How about it?
The academics are fond of saying things like, the New Testament authors and New Testament
I
guys,
decided
they
to keep
just
the
sort of
home
make
sauna
this
for
up
myself.
by the
It was
Trinity
fun.
or Godhead,
Yeah,
applying this
Larry.
to the Old
What's
Testament, because
that?
they were
What's
literally
up, buddy?
sucking it out of their
Oh man,
thumb.
I'm so glad you're
So
here.
why should we pay any
So we're doing a
attention
pool
to
party, dude.
that? They were aberrant.
This is why I love Bozak. He believes
They were not
everything I say.
consistent. Or they'll say the New Testament
We
writers
don't need that.
use the Old Testament in such a way where they're just using
Sure.
it
Yeah, just gives it like a text. Good.
they're reading things into it.
We haven't even got
And again,
inside the
Jesus
thing. You're already
prevented
sweating.
this whole notion of Jesus being
Yeah,
either
that'll be a
non-existent or
Christmas thing.
odd sort
Where's
of
the
figure
spring
that
go?
was saying
I
things
asked
about
you that
himself.
earlier. There's
He
probably
was just
extra.
making up.
There's probably extra parts. They always give you
There's
extra
also
parts when I
biblical
build stuff.
continuity
Well,
and
that's
interpretive
because you're building.
clarity. Your
Yes,
account of
and
the two
I'll slide it on
testaments
in. Okay.
are very
There we go.
consistent
So
with
I
each
thought it was
other.
a pool.
Even as something
Yeah,
as
it's gonna
fundamentally
be a pool of
Christian
your sweat.
as
Bill?
a Godhead, you will see
Let's see.
in the Old Testament.
Looks pretty good to me.
You just sort of have to know what you're looking at and what to look for.
Yeah, you gotta get that chair in there.
What
That's
we'll
gonna be
cover
the
as
best
well
part.
will,
Seriously?
in some ways, clear up a lot of weird assumptions. There are a lot of these
Just realized that I can watch chat on my laptop, not miss anything else.
contextualized theology. And by that I mean this whole thing of interpreting in context nobody talks about this. But my question is, how serious are you?
Yeah, I was looking for anybody else to go live so I could
This is sort of
stalk the chat and have something to watch, and nobody
theology does
was.
not begin with any of these theologians. These names up here, and of course the bottom is any theologian you sort of fill in the blank with.
But
There are certain things
Tweety Bird
that
just got his
we
feet done.
like ancient Israelites to get.
And I just
We're going to
Today
cover
is
some of
your
those
day.
tonight.
hit Tweety Bird's foot.
Day to rise, to make your mark,
Biblical
to move
theology is framed
forward.
by the world people
What
who
you build
created it. And
doesn't
they're not
stop when the job's
from the Middle
finished.
Ages, they're not from the
It
Reformation,
becomes
they're not
part of your
modern.
story,
There's a lot of
your
odd
role,
things going on.
your
So to get to
livelihood,
these points,
your legacy.
this is what we're going to cover in succeeding weeks. Monotheism, of
To
course,
Boda.
tonight, and the two powers that we're going to talk
The
about,
Book of
how
Mormon is
Jews
the best
interpreted
musical of this
the two
century.
powers
You won't
idea
believe
that
how
they see
funny it
in
is.
the Old
You won't
Testament.
believe how much heart it
Because
has.
they didn't
And
all
when it's over,
flock to
you won't
Jesus.
believe how much you'll want to see it
They
again.
had different
The Book of
ideas.
Mormon at the
And
Princess
that
of
last week
Wales.
saw
Good.
that
Tickets at Princess.com.
as well. So understanding Israel's monotheism is the subject for tonight. And you might think, well, what's to understand? There's only one God. Well, some things just aren't as simple as they appear. Specifically, many Jews began seeing and believed that Jesus is God as a problem. We need to be able to catch this. We need to be able to vet the idea of Jesus as God and that God is still there in the monotheism. Somehow that needs to be monotheism.
I wasn't telling you to, I just said I was looking to see if anybody was before I did.
And then we talked about some of the beliefs of scholars, other religions, and again, sort of, is your theology vetted? So these are the problems against my way of looking at it that we'll just try to address. And one way of doing that was start with a monotheism test. On the left-hand column here, these are common Hebrew terms for God. Most of you will know.
Tweety Bird's foot is fixed.
All of these, the numbers next to them are in round numbers how many times you'll see that occur in the Hebrew
New
Bible, the Old
oatmeal crisp
Testament. So
protein with
Elohim,
15 grams of
lot,
protein with milk.
50,000. El is sort of a shorter form, a couple
Made with
hundred
the goodness of
times.
oats since
Yahweh, the divine
1954.
name, is the most frequently used. And then Eloah is most often in the book of Job, primary, inconsistent. So we have terms for God. The top one here. Now look at this carefully. The term Elohim is used to describe this
and very boring.
Man, I hope this hole's big enough for your net.
Warning to everyone.
Right, no. I think we need to build it up.
This is where his first games
We
went.
need to build it up.
3 of 1 of them is on
Man,
S,
I'm glad you came.
which oddly enough, the believer does not have a word for God.
It looks like you didn't have that. I have a different idea of what truth is. It's gonna start cleansing your body. All the toxins and everything's gonna start coming out. You're gonna be so exfoliated after this. You're gonna be amazing. How's that Gerald? Surprisingly wet.
This one you're probably going to be familiar with.
Oh, you can put your hand.
Deuteronomy 32:17. Demons, the words shadim,
I might not have made any money, but seeing Bozak as a sweaty T-Rex is worth every penny.
1 Samuel
It
28,
says cook for 10 to 15
story when
minutes and then check.
Saul visits the medium Endor and says, hey, can you bring up Samuel? I want to talk to him because I'm just in big trouble. And she's like, yes,
Makes sense.
she goes through whatever machination she goes through and it works because she says, I see
Hopefully, he sees what I see in these mirrors. Big
an
money.
Elohim
How do you like our new
coming up
headboard?
out of the ground. And then Saul asks,
You know, this one specifically, you know why this
she
one's so beautiful?
describes that Samuel, they have this conversation. Samuel
The only thing
I know, right, Cheryl?
this was kind of done like during the neoclassical period, late 17th, early 18th century. And they started in France, and they used to call them Reese's mirrors. But when they came to America, they're now kind of known as federal mirrors. And as you can see, these little balls here represent the 13 original colonies. And
Jack is stretching and farting up a storm over there.
so this is a regular flat mirror, which is pretty standard. But these convex mirrors are actually pretty cool because back in the day when butlers would be serving dinner, they could be hung in the dining room so they can kind of stay away and so they can kind of see if they've got
What up, 9 people?
also, as you can see, it's got these little spots in it, and that's oxidation, which is actually the silver behind that. So I mean, it's not dust. Not dust. See, now the thing about it is that I actually manufactured
I know. He has some stinky farts, though, Cheryl. Most of them you wouldn't smell any, and then some of them, it's like a full-grown man farted beside you.
They're all looking at me like my class is looking at me. They're so tricky.
Let's start with this one. Well, this back has been replaced.
I would say
This one has been
it's
done,
kind of obvious because I just gave you the list.
now, this is definitely your crown prince here in the group. The reason why this one is nice, it actually has all the original parts, the exact 13 colonies, and the carving on it is really intricate. Collectors love that because it's so different, but they're the same theme. So I would say like it's a collection.
You know, these can't be the Trinity. Demons aren't the Trinity.
It's 45.
Last time I checked, deceased Jim and Dad. I don't think any of our aunts and uncles or loved ones are up there. So we have four Elohim. Yep, they're right there. I see them, but I'm on them for
Is
this.
the biggest winner of them all. Collecting $5,000.
There's some tension here
Rene Nazoda
because
his
we're
way
used to
to a
thinking of the term
defining profit of
monotheism
$2,300.
in a certain way.
While Jared
By the
Schultz
way,
didn't
the way we
sweat
think of it
his
does not
$35
conform
loss.
to the list. That's the problem. That's the tension that we have.
Okay.
So, on the one hand, the use of the Hebrew term is really clear. All you gotta do is
Other than the days Josh has been up with him, I haven't been asleep at 5 a.m. in
our English translations
probably like 2 months.
I just showed you. Here's an example. This is 1 Samuel 28:13. Now I have the red line here for a reason. Because the ESV to the left of the red line, that does a really
The
good
following
job of
program
telling
contains mature subject matter.
what word
Viewer discretion is
it
advised.
actually has. It uses G-O-D, small G-O-D. I see a God, I see Elohim coming up out of the earth. These other ones, look at what they do with it. I see a spirit.
You unlock this door with a key of
It's just a
imagination.
neutral term. You
Beyond
can't.
it is another dimension.
Divine being,
A
that's not
dimension of
bad.
sound.
Spirit,
A dimension of
ghostly
sight.
figure.
A dimension of
I
mind.
mean, come on.
You're moving
This
into a
last
land
one
of
here,
both shadow
equipped
and
spirit.
substance, of things and ideas.
Now, if you were
Just
looking,
passed
it's the
over.
E To gods, to Elohim,
4 hours
they
at
have
the
not
most.
known. So,
Any idea how many?
so this translation
My guess is
carefully distinguishes
General Custer's really looking for the Sioux.
the
He's gonna have
beings
his britches full
the
of
Israelites
them
wound up
now.
sacrificing to.
That's the
Were not
junction over there.
God, but the
Big
true
horn
God.
and the little big horn. That's where they converge. That put them in a kind view ford about 4 miles up.
So
That's where
these
he's thinking about
translations do a
crossing.
good job. Over here, now, if that isn't a
Wonder where they are
contradictory
now.
translation,
I wouldn't
contradictory
be too
thought, I don't
impatient
know
with
what
the
is. They sacrificed to demons which were no gods, to
Go
gods
back
they
and
had
say
never
that
known.
General
Like, are
Custer,
they or aren't
the
they?
Indian Trail is just as fresh as ever.
Doesn't make
Too
any
fresh for my
sense.
faith.
And demons that were no gods to gods they had never known.
Shut.
What's going on?
Holy tiger. Whoa, easy.
I'm not going to guess.
He was just a little.
The
But they
translators
start getting trigger happy, it's going to turn into a real war.
that just really isn't
I
very
can see
good
it now, lady.
translation.
How about that, McCluskey?
Psalm
I'll take
82:1.
you a buffalo.
Again, here's our red line.
Well,
Psalm of
I'm
Asaph.
giving up.
God has taken his place in divine council. This is Elohim.
I'm getting mighty
In the
hot.
midst of the gods, this is also Elohim. Except this one is plural. This is judgment. So, New King James, ESV, did a pretty good job. Here we have heavenly beings.
The fact that you read the map upside down and didn't navigate a fly across the ballroom.
Okay, rulers. And then this is my favorite right here. Gods in scare quotes. Dun, 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 dun.
2 people.
It's just your Bible. You don't need to put scare quotes.
Daffy Duck has 1 foot.
So,
Done.
again, you see that when you have a problem, English translations, you're not using things like concordance to sort of get down into the surface a little bit. You never know. Dude, it's sort of just a hit or miss proposition.
Right over there, the junction, the big horn, little big
Now,
horn.
I think at least part of the reason why these other verses have this sort of translational difficulty or problem.
Where the
The translations, I don't know what I should put.
I did the Simpsons characters and I did the Winnie the Pooh characters.
The letters G, O, and D
And then I asked Josh for another idea and he said Looney Tunes.
of that word in light of a specific
Take a look at that.
So that is what I'm working on right now.
That's what we're used to doing. But that isn't what the biblical writers did with
You figure, sorry.
I can't decide which one's my favorite between the Simpsons one or the Winnie the Pooh one right now.
Oh, yeah,
the
go,
term
sure.
Elohim of some
Yeah, of course we got it right.
lucky demon over here.
Well, there's a pretty big battle.
Spirit
The Simpsons one definitely took longer, but it was my first one that I did.
You ever hear of Mike?
a specific
I learned after doing that one if I was going to use the same color on different characters to basically go by color and not paint each character separately.
figures, these entities are not equal in attributes. So again, obviously an angel is not equal.
Sped things up a little bit.
Maybe hanging around the
Can't be
white
about
bed.
attributes. What a biblical writer would say, if you
Finished Winnie the Pooh probably 3 days ago, maybe? One second. How do I do this? There we go. Grab that. Winnie the Pooh is actually having their 100th anniversary this year, I think. But this is my Winnie the Pooh that I did with the classic Winnie the Pooh logo. I can't decide, but I think Roo or Rabbit is my favorite for how this one came out. This one I did for my sister's birthday because she's always been obsessed with Winnie the Pooh since we were children. And the Simpsons one was for Josh. Now we're doing the Looney Tunes one for Josh.
inhabit your proper domain. It's not my world, it's the spiritual world. And if you look at that, again, all of these are linked,
Not really, but I've always,
blessed, and put them in this sort of little diagram.
I don't know, I've always more like painting and doing things with my hands.
Where the Elohim live. That's where they're from. That's how you identify the inhabitant of that realm. In summary to this point,
June
here's what I want
25th,
you to get.
1964.
From what
Origin
we're
was
on so
first,
far,
June
the
25th,
biblical use of the word
1876.
Elohim
The
shows
captured
us that
characters
it's
in
not
order of their
tied
occurrence, the patrol of General
to a
Custer's
specific
cavalry
set of
and the
attributes.
patrol of National Guardsmen on a maneuver. Past and
That
present are about
explains
to
why
collide,
more than one thing
as they are
gets
wont to do in a
described
very
with the
special
term.
bivouac area known as the Twilight
English
Zone.
translations at times obscure that.
Oh, I saw they're gonna be on sale. I
And
haven't seen it this excited.
I was surprised that he didn't put
Catch a case of eel face with Leon's
Bugs
Ultra
Bunny or
But they mentioned you can take 2 years to pay.
the
Leon's.
Tasmanian Devil on the list because I let him pick the characters. But I like Elmer's little gun. And then Sam isn't fully done yet. He's still missing his hands and his features.
term really refers to the spiritual world, something in the
A
spiritual world.
disaster transforms your home into chaos.
It
This is the
undercuts
world of
the
Paul
threat
Davis restoration,
and the
ready
problem
to restore your
of
home,
a Christian going
to
to a
make
Jew
things right.
and
Paul
talking
Davis
about
property
Jesus as
restoration
God.
experts.
Let's just say Jesus as Elohim,
Damn, this is
along
good.
with God the Father as
New
Elohim.
oatmeal crisp protein with 15 grams of protein with
They can
milk.
handle that. And so they're going to want to know about attributes, for
Made
sure.
with the goodness of oats since
Drawing
1954.
equation,
I think the biggest pain in the ass is taking the paints and actually mixing up the colors.
first hurdle,
Because now I have this big thing of orange from Sam's beard and stuff that
language should
I'm
not
not painting anything else at the moment, so I don't have any use for that orange now. So I've just been using little bottle caps that are garbage for mixing up different colors.
especially when I'm over next week.
Oh, I'm using a mechanical pencil because the little point of it is easier with the details. And it also puts the paint on a little thicker so that I don't have to worry about doing like a second coat. And paintbrushes just don't turn out as good, I find, for the fine details sometimes.
The captain wants to see you and visit it right away. And it sounded like to me it was a
Well,
little
then you
more
know
than
that
an invitation.
Andy. You start looking for the exits. No. But
So yeah, I use whatever I put the paint in and a
no idea.
mechanical pencil.
Because if you start leading them by the hand,
Then if I need to, a paintbrush.
this sort of threat of plural language, things sort of go into the next step. Now, moving on from this point, what about, these other paintings? Say a little bit about them.
There's one of those little.
Before I do that, do you have any questions to this point?
I will have to paint an orange tree. There's one of those little. It's not a ladybug, it's one of those Asian lady beetles or whatever that looks like a ladybug. And I don't know where it is right now, but it's freaked me out twice so far. Because it's in here, I just don't know where.
So, directly and exactly, it's verse 6 to be more precise. In the fourth week, we're going to spend almost the
Now I
whole
still gotta
session
mix up some paint for Elmer's face and his skin. And I still gotta do the chicken's like head and tail. I hate bugs too. It's freaking me out.
is that
And it's one of those hard shell ones. So wherever he hit off a wall a minute ago and I know I heard him. But then I go to look and I can't see him anywhere because he's so tiny.
I don't believe that at all. I think Jesus understood his Old Testament and he understood what Elohim meant. The issue is, if you just say it's people, what it amounts to is that Jesus is saying, hey, look, guys, I
I think it was a few weeks ago now, I was fighting with a spider one morning.
things, and when people are
because it's springtime and they're starting to resurface.
So I know you're upset with me. And I just said,
Yeah, usually they like the lamps, any light, and then they'll just die from the heat or whatever else. But a few weeks ago, my blanket, it was like hanging down on the ground. I've learned my lesson since, and I'm pretty sure that's how it got up onto the bed. But I saw this spider walk across the bed, and I was so freaked out. And I had my little pencil, and I like hit him off the bed, thinking, okay, go crawl under the dresser, wherever else. Just if I can't see you, you don't bug me. Um, I want to say like an hour later, I was sitting here and he came back for revenge from his little tap onto the floor, and then I had to kill him
and right after he quotes it, what else is
out of fear he would come back a third time if I didn't.
he's going to say, look, your own Bible has divine plurality language. Take a look. You're supposed to know that. Now, you should learn from that other non-human beings are called in line, so you shouldn't be thrown at anything and leave for that. But you know what? And just one of these.
And I still have to do all the background. I haven't even drawn it out, but for this one and The Simpsons, all the characters have like background stuff going on, like Winnie the Pooh's kitchen. And this one, I still have to come up with ideas. I know I'm gonna do him out in the forest hunting for like Bugs Bunny or some shit. And I'm gonna do his barn behind him and his cage in the background. But I can't decide what to do for Daffy Duck. I don't know whether to do a pond or what.
2 points in your mind. One is, again, that Yahweh, while Yahweh is an Elohim and no other Elohim or Yahweh, that means Yahweh is inherently superior. He is in command. He is ontologically, fancy theological word there. Ontology means what a thing is. He, by definition, is superior to anything else in the spiritual world. Of course, our world too. So, that's one thought to keep in the back of our minds. The other one is this sonship language that you will see associated with certain Elohim in the spiritual world gets rightly applied to divine beings because God created
Somebody's farting in their sleep again.
beings, not only humans, without threatening monotheism.
I keep just looking at it because I know I gotta mix up more colors now for their skin tone and
Again, especially if you have someone who's like a Jewish person really devoted to the Old Testament and the Shema, it's like I should
know what to mix.
say phrases like plural gods or plural because the gods of Israel, because the Lord our God is
God damn it, that's what I was afraid of happening.
that's a hurdle we can get over. Now, let's talk about, since divine plurality doesn't interfere with monotheism, let's talk about this divine son idea. Because to a Jew, who is the Son of God to a Jew? There are two candidates in the Old Testament.
I have too many of these lids where I've had to mix up colors.
Who is the Son of God in the Old Testament? Who gets called my
Once
son?
one color dries, I just mix over top of it though.
Hosea 11:1.
And that one's not dry yet.
Called my son would be referring back to the Exodus. Who else? The other passage for that is when
Is brought to you in part by
Moses and Aaron go
Rogers,
before
Canada's
Pharaoh
best and most reliable
they
5G
request
Plus
to
network. Rogers, we
have
got
permission to
you.
leave Egypt. Thus says the Lord, let my people go so that my son can go out in the desert and worship me. Yeah, it's a corporate reference. But what's the other candidate? Who does God call my son? The king. Israelite king. There's some psalms to that effect. So if you're a Jew, and you know your Old Testament, you're thinking, oh, okay,
What up, three people?
son stuff, I don't know about that. I get the
I will do the skin color next. Grab my white and my brown, and hopefully we'll get a Elmer Fudd looking skin color by the end of it.
Yeah, these are just baby steps. To get the Jewish person to think about divine plurality from their own Bible without use of the New Testament. God has taken his place in the divine council. You have, or you have God in blue here. The column here in blue, we have Elohim is the term. This is singular. This is a good translation. This is the ESV. We know it's singular because the verb it goes with, taking its place, is singular. Itzav is a singular participle. I mention that because Elohim
I would not say that at all, 801.
is what grammarians call morphologically plural. That is the shape, the spelling of the word is plural. If you know a little bit of Hebrew, you know that words, nouns that end in are plural. Elohim, plural. Okay, so the shape of the word is plural. But in most cases,
It's more trial and error and a lot of paint mixing.
the term is actually singular. So, Mike, you're just saying that because you want to say that.
I'm gonna have to add some more white because if I do that color, then Elmer Fudd's just gonna look like a brownie.
Useful on occasion. Elohim is actually a verb like in English, deer, D-E-R, or sheep. If I walked up to you and said, sheep, more than one or just one, you're
God
like,
damn it.
other than thinking, who is this crazy man? You're thinking, well, I don't know. It's just a word. Put it in a sentence. If I say the sheep is lost, how many? Grammar tells you that. If I say the sheep are lost, Hebrew's the same way. You have to look at what the noun is partnered with to tell you
I did a paint inventory the other day, and I realized the colors that I need, like white, because basically any color I can lighten it by adding some white, is probably the color I have the least of, and I use it for everything. And then I have weird colors, like I have 3 bottles of brown.
Our first reaction as Christians is, oh, this must be the Trinity. Trust me, in Psalm 82, you do not want the Trinity. Because if you read the rest of the Psalm, what happens to the Elohim? God says, you guys are jerks.
And somehow I have 4 bottles of yellow, and they're not even all different yellows. 3 of them are the same exact name of yellow.
It's just really bad theology to do that. So here we have in one verse, Elohim 2 times, one singular, one plural. But again, depending on the translation you're using, you may not notice that at all. Let me go back here. The other,
That's a little better though for a skin tone.
I do get a lot
You see how it looks on his hands before I do his face?
Psalm 82 business. This is sort of where I live. I'm going to really impress you now and say this was the focus of my dissertation. And it was. This is like my favorite subject, but I get a lot of pushback on it. And I understand. One of the things you'll hear is, well, this council is, again, they must just be people. Then somebody will quote, Jesus in John chapter 10, not realizing that undermines his deity in the passage. Well, really it's not, because if you go over to Psalm 89, here we have, isn't this amazing? Go back to Psalm 82. Absolutely literal.
Where are you going?
Elohim.
I'm going to back to
Here we have the heavenly beings.
But don't worry,
It's
boys.
B'nai
I'm going to send you
Elim.
a padded
Elim is the plural. El, singular God, plural gods. Sons of the gods.
And I want to say this color is going to work out pretty good.
But here we get heavenly beings. Same translation. A couple psalms over. Why? I don't know. But here we have, again, a reference to the
I want to say it looks pretty good. Pretty skin tone accurate. Probably looks better in person than on the
Well, as the
camera.
reject, human beings don't like rule the cosmos or the nations in the skies. Okay, it's a reference again to the spiritual world. It's this idea that God is a heavenly host and they work for him. And they better do what they're told because if they don't, they're going to get punished. Okay, it's not terribly difficult. Back to Psalm 82, here's the verse that is quoted in John 10. God says to the Elohim of his council, I said, you are gods, Elohim, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die. It's just not good. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die and fall like any prince. Again, this is a declaration that because of your corrupt administration, what I gave you to do, ruling the nations, as we'll find out, because you did not do a good job, and part of their failure was having men allowing humans to worship them instead of the true God. We find out from Deuteronomy. Because of that, I'm going to strip you of your immortality. He said, I'm bigger than you are. I made you.
He's at least got hands now.
I gave you life, and I can take it. Now here's the passage that's sort of the springboard for what in the world Psalm 82 is talking about. Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9, and verse 43. You'll notice I have two translations here. NIV, ESV. One says sons of Israel. In fact, most of your English translations will have sons of Israel. The other one says sons of God. Now let's look at the verse. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided up all humankind, all mankind, when did that happen? When did the nations get divided? Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, 1 through 9. When God did that, he set up boundaries for the peoples.
Try not to mess up the
Israel,
poor guy's face
according to the number of the sons of God.
too much.
ESV is one of the few translations that will have this. That is the reading in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's also the reading in the
Once I get his face done, Elmer Fudd is, other than the background, he is done.
this passage. Now, I don't want to get into this too far. We'll do it in the fourth week. What the story is here is that God, if you remember back to the Tower of Babel episode, we get a little more detail here. When God looks down, humanity is not dispersed.
Once I get them all painted, I'll
As he had commanded them to do.
start drawing out and figuring out the backgrounds for them.
Splits everybody up and then they disperse. The chapter prior to that, Genesis 10, have the table of nations, gives a list of the nations that are associated with Genesis 11. What happens here is God says, okay, you don't want to listen to me. We thought that the flood would sort of take care of this, but it didn't. You don't want to listen to me. I'm not going to be your God anymore. I'm going to split you up. I'm going to put you under the authority of lesser divine beings, sons of God who work for me. And I'm going to create a people of my own from scratch. That people was Israel. Israel does not exist at the time of the Tower of Babel because God hasn't called Abraham yet. And Israel's not listed in the table of nations for that reason. This is why it says he divides the peoples up according to the number of the sons of God, but the Lord's
We got 4 people stalking and only 2 of them talking.
also known as Israel, is his allotted heritage. So this is the story of the rest of the Old Testament in a nutshell. This is the beginning of the antagonism between Israel and everybody else, and between God and other deities, other pantheons. This is the Old Testament explanation for why the other nations have their own pantheons, why they're messed up, because God punished them by abandoning them, disinheriting them. Now we know from the very next chapter, when God calls Abram, what does God say about the nations? Does he forget them? Or are they just dead meat for the rest of human history? No, he says, when he calls Abram, he says, through you, all nations of the earth will be blessed. Okay, so he hasn't forgotten them, but they are under punishment. sons of God, B'nai Elohim, B'nai Elim.
I don't know what is playing on the TV right now. Some black and white.
Shema is all of this violation of the Shema because again,
I don't know. I think it's a Western.
again specifically I have highlighted the Jewish person here.
It's not what was on when I put the channel on, but
Old Testament.
it's just kind of background noise anyway.
Divine plurality because Elohim just talks about where a being lives and where he's from. It has nothing to do with attributes. And some of those Elohim are sons. We have this sonship language going on. It's not a violation of the Shema. I have 5 translations here of the Shema.
New oatmeal
Because
crisp protein with 15
the
grams of
Shema is
protein
like
with
the
milk.
most difficult verse in the Bible to translate. You think, well, look at that.
Made with the
It's
goodness
just
of
a few
oats
words.
since
What's so hard about that?
1954.
In Hebrew, there are no verbs.
Sometimes
There isn't a
life
single
can
verb
feel off balance.
in Deuteronomy 6:5. You have to supply it.
With benefits, credits,
So any
and
one of
housing
these
programs,
can work
life can feel a bit more balanced when you put more
grammatically, but
money
they all
back
have
in your
something
pocket.
I'm gonna have to go back in and fix one of his eyes after.
Qualify for at Canada.ca/everydollar counts.
God.
A message from the government of
Now
Canada.
that makes sense in view of divine plurality because
With hundreds of
the
frames to
Israelites
pick from,
believed in a whole
it's hard to
spiritual
pick just
world
one.
populated
It's a winner.
with other
Provide your new
Elohim.
prescription and get
In
20% off
fact,
lenses.
God had punished the
Nobody cares
nations,
for eyes more
and
than
some of
girl.
those Elohim had become corrupt, and they were demanding and receiving worship from other peoples instead of the true God. And God said, look, I'm going to bring you out of Egypt, but you stay away from the other gods. You stay out of their territory, you don't intermarry with them, you stay away from them.
Design teams working with
Because he knows the threat is real.
Vegas, baby. Anything
Again, it's the whole Old Testament, just in a nutshell.
now in food preview.
This is why in the Old Testament you get this sense of certain areas
So I'm taking on everything from
under the
rundown
domain
barns to a kitchen
of
for
different
our chef.
beings.
Are you kidding me?
This comes through in biblical story. I've shared some of this before in other sessions we've
And
done.
I also happen to
One
be
of my
working on
favorite
the
stories
biggest
of this
renovation of my life. Let's bring it back
is
now, baby.
we actually just hit
There
one
is
in
nothing
Samuel, going
else
through
I
First
would
Samuel.
rather be doing. Oh my goodness.
You know when
And
the
there
Ark
is
of the
no
Covenant
place
goes
I
out
would rather be doing it.
and the Ark is captured by the Philistines and they take it back to Dagon.
I don't know how long I'll do this one, but
We go in the next day and Dagon's flat in his face.
probably until
Off and all this stuff.
Jack wakes up after, and then
But what's even better about it
maybe
is
do
when
another one later on in the morning.
you get this line in the narrative
It's
that
only
says,
2:30 here.
and this is why to this day the priests of Dagon don't walk across the threshold. What does that mean? It's because it was Yahweh's turf.
One more smoke, and then 801 is out.
Good morning, Dagon. Oh, I need something on the other side of the room. I'm just gonna like step over here and I'm gonna walk around.
And Elmer Fudd is done. There's a glare because the paint's wet, but he is done, other than his background.
God of Israel. Naaman the leper. He gets healed.
I don't even want to admit how long it took me to mix the paint for his outfit, but
He finally gives up and says, okay,
I got it eventually. And this is another black and white show.
what does Naaman ask Elijah to take back home?
Things and ideas. You just crossed over into the twilight zone.
He wants to load 2 mules with dirt. Why would he ask for dirt? This is why he'd ask for dirt. Because he knows, he even says, now I know that the Lord, he is God.
Yes.
And he says, now look, I'd like to take some dirt back with me. Because it's part of my job. You know, I got this king and he's old. So that, like, I have to take him into the temple of Ramon, his God, to worship. And so he's old. I gotta take him by the arm and we sort of shuffle.
All the shows on TV are garbage.
Myself here, but the old tailor guy. We're gonna shuffle along here, and when he like bows to Dagon, you know, I might have to like go down with him because I'm gonna hang on to the guy.
One episode of Criminal Minds on, and I've seen that episode about 1,000,000 times.
Why? It's protection. Okay. It's some or put it around his neck, or a little bag, put it in his pocket. Who knows?
You'll be seeing your
But
friends
to him,
later on.
it's cosmic geography. This is Yahweh's territory, and I'm taking it with
Now,
me.
peace out.
I can't live here. Got a job, got kids.
Foxes
What time is it where you are, Cheryl?
I'm an important man,
Good
but I'm taking
matches,
dirt with me. So what does Elisha say?
This distance.
Yeah, that'll work.
That will give you pleasure.
Sure, good idea. Go ahead.
Great deal of
Take all you can carry. Maybe not more of that.
Even when
Yeah,
he
so
lies
you
down.
get this, again, this sense that Yahweh is our God. This is what the Shema means. The Shema is not a denial of all this other stuff we float
Oh,
around.
it's only early at
There's a
Cheryl's.
context for it. Yeah, it's just not one we're used to. You might be thinking, what about statements like there's none beside me, none like me?
Patience of the bourgeois.
They're not denials of the existence of other Elohim. They're statements of Yahweh's incomparability.
Gulp it down like a
I, I'll just point out, some of these denials are in Deuteronomy 32, verse 39. They're in Deuteronomy 4, which is the parallel. Deuteronomy 4, 19 and 20 is the parallel to Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. You get two denial statements in Deuteronomy 4, verses 35 and 39. Well, let's go from there.
I guess I'm watching this for half an hour until it switches to Hudson and Rex.
Can't deny the demons are real. And now you got this none beside me stuff. What's going on? I'm so confused.
Now I gotta do
If you think of them as statements,
Sam's nose and his hands the same color.
here's a list of places. I want to focus in on these two. These are all denial statements. And their formula, if you can read a little Hebrew.
You will have your death when I go.
Right down
And
here.
once again, I mixed up way too much paint.
Says
But we will have killed with
there is none beside
artistry
me.
and not with a meat cleaver or an explosive bullet or any other of the
And
butcher's.
over here in Zephaniah, it's
No,
in
no,
that says
this that will be
When we
the same phrases.
discussed.
go to the new place, I'm gonna have like
Denial statements.
This is the life.
Here's the
a
question.
shelf for paint.
Is Babylon really
I'm gonna get like little resealable containers, so when I have extra paint, I can just
His name is Major Ifan.
keep that paint
absurd?
He has it to finish
for future use.
Miles and you run into
3 or
one.
4 more hours of living.
The whole point is that
Shared by both himself
Babylon
and
is
his
saying
execution.
I'm the best.
Is it the fact that both of them
None can
have taken
compare
a
to me.
first step into the twilight?
That's what the denial statements are about. By way of an ending summary, a couple of thoughts to take away. We have this list here. Again, the Shema not being a contradiction to divine plurality, affirming the uniqueness of Yahweh. Divine plurality is not inconsistent with monotheism. And it paves the way for the next step, which is next week, of explaining how Christianity grew out of Judaism. Now, we're going to see next week that the Old Testament identifies one particular Elohim. That's Yahweh alone. I'm going to show you passages where you have God and this other figure in the same passage, and very distinguishable. And some of, there are some things that you sort of miss in the English translation that are pretty dramatic. To sort of telegraph that, what you have in the Old Testament is you have Yahweh invisible and Yahweh visible, and sometimes they're in the same scene. And sometimes the visible one is the God you think of, other times the visible one is the other Yahweh. You say, well, that's confusing. There's like two Yahwehs, and one is but isn't Yahweh. And yeah, that's exactly the way we talk about Jesus. If you think about it, Jesus is God, but he isn't. He's God, but he's not the Father. Again, the Old Testament has those categories already in it. Okay? They were tracking mentally with the idea of two. We'll get to three as well, but they're tracking on two. On the one hand, it's an easy shift to accept the idea.
That would be a good idea, little dab jars.
We got Yahweh, we got this other Yahweh. Okay, I know what you're talking about. But the other time it was a life-altering, life-threatening decision.
And I know probably, actually, that's probably what I'll do, Cheryl. Not
Because you had to believe that Jesus,
not like dab jars from anyone,
the coat and
but I know you can buy like,
huge step. But they had the category.
and I wouldn't need too many, but I know you can buy like
Now, I want to
probably a dozen or more in a set on Amazon
next time you see
of like those
TLC
little
special or a PBS special,
jars.
whatever, fill in the blank. see. And they talk about
And they
how
twist on, twist off, so that would be easy.
this New Testament stuff, I just think they were making that up. Or the early Christians wouldn't even have known what they were talking about, this Jesus is God business. And Paul made that
I have,
all the early church. They were actually disagreed on their theology. Next time you hear about
the
that,
other day I didn't have
just
anywhere to
ask
mix
about yourself.
paint, but I had
Say,
like one of those gum container lids that you can pop open, and they have the little part that opens too. I don't know if you guys have those,
context,
but
New
I
Testament
started
reader,
using that,
Dr. So-and-so,
and
dude.
when I'm
But you
completely
don't.
done with
You don't. You either have to be
this one, and I think I'm going to attempt one more canvas before I take a little break from the painting,
I think we've hit this before.
because I've probably been painting every night
See, his
for
Yahweh thinking. And again, that's what I want you to be tracking
at
along
least
with.
a month to do the Simpsons, the Winnie the Pooh, and this one. But
Some of you will know this because you've heard me bring this up before. Others, this will be news
when
to you.
I'm fully
There's something
done,
odd
that
about these two verses.
that lid, I have so much dried up paint in it that it's literally, I want to say, like, it's about that thick right now, of just different colors of paint dried on top of each other. And I'm gonna take it out, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it after that, but
Don't take this like the next 2 weeks will be less interesting. But what we're gonna cover tonight is my favorite thing to do in lectures. This is my favorite topic because I think this is probably the most easily transferable component of the 4 weeks, at least in terms of importance
1 month
to
is
someone who just
dedicated.
hasn't had their handle on this stuff
It's more
like
something
I
just to
have. And
kill
that
time.
is something as
Wouldn't really call it dedication, of course.
centrally and fundamentally
Collectively in the
Christian,
Simpsons painting,
Christological as the idea
I think that one took about 30 hours
actually has very strong roots.
from like
Because
drawing it out, which took an hour or two.
to that before, you've
And then
probably
I do like 3 hours here or 4 hours there,
Testament, those sorts of
and
things
then
probably
draw
show
out the backgrounds and then paint the
couple
backgrounds. So
places where if you just
I
have
didn't
your
time it, and I could
sort of
even
tweak
be, it could have taken more than that,
I think
but
that you're going to be struck
I think it took a good
by
30 hours to do the
the
Simpsons one.
God of the Old Testament. There's a
To
tune
do
that's
the
very
Winnie the
easy
Pooh
to
one,
see.
because the Simpsons one was the first one I've done recently. Doing the
Fire
Winnie the Pooh one, I did it like this, where I knew I needed the skin color for both of these, so I did them at the same time.
to trickle over
So
into
it
and then next week
cut
we're going
down
to
on
talk
some
about
time, because before I was
Jews
painting each
before Jesus.
individual
What
character.
I'm going to show you tonight is
Relaxing or
one of the Christians'
stressful?
worst things, so you can get an idea of what the discussion was in the first century before the New Testament was even written about the Old
Probably
Testament
relaxing.
God. Because that's
I
what
think
they
I
thought.
stressed myself out with it because I
Okay,
worry
and
it'll
so
look good or not.
prior to Jesus
The
coming
only
earth in
thing
the first
stressful
century,
was this
prior to the
one
New Testament,
because it's for my sister's birthday, and that was on
the
April
God used to
7th.
write the New Testament
And I
was
think I
just
started
things out of
it
the ether. It's not all
about 2 days after her
so
birthday
I
and finished it
in Paul's case, a lot of
maybe like
schooling
3 days later, 4 days later.
their Old Testament, and you're
So,
seeing
and I meant to
Jesus
take
in
it to her
all
yesterday,
sorts of
but I'm gonna
ways
give it to her
and in all
tomorrow
sorts of
because
people because
I was packing up Jack and
Christianity
forgot.
Jesus is God incarnate. So
I worry about like the cheeks on his face, but I like the whole kitchen in the background.
just use let's use the
And for Tigger, I had no idea what to do, but I googled like inspiration photos, and I saw one of his character bouncing a basketball
from the century
and one of him like holding balloons, so I kind of just put his basketball and the balloons with a little cloud,
that was a big deal
but
for
the
obvious
rest were
reasons. So
pretty accurate from like pictures I saw from some of the movies.
this Godhead idea, I'm hoping that you'll see that the
But
Jewish
yeah,
mind,
that was
a
That was Winnie the Pooh.
That he or she could hear the claims of the apostles and hear this idea that Jesus was born of a virgin, he was God incarnate, that they had some place mentally to put that where it made sense.
And I wouldn't say it's an escape, just more something to do when baby Jack's sleeping. Because it keeps me up and alert and busy doing something.
Was not attached to a set of attributes. That's why the biblical writers confuse it with an assortment of things.
For this one, other than like the chicken's head and tail and his hat, the characters on this one are basically done.
That's just standard Trinitarian theology. But what's different about it is I'm getting you to think about it in very more ancient terms than your New Testament.
And the Looney Tunes one, probably been doing it for almost 3 hours tonight, along with 4 hours the past 2 nights. So it's already got about 13 hours of work just in the characters. And then the background will probably be another 13 or more hours. So probably be a good 24 hours. But not 24 hours straight, luckily.
Because they're identified with each other. And one of them is Yahweh, so the other one must in some sense be Yahweh as well. That's where we're going to camp tonight. So I showed you this slide.
I think I would go insane if it was 24 hours straight.
And we covered first options. So tonight, second week, Judaism's two powers.
And the nights that I do it, there's always little pauses in it, like feeding Jack and getting his little cuddles. So it breaks up the night between when he's sleeping and
The second power, the lesser Yahweh, the second God, the second Yahweh. You actually find this in Jewish rabbinic writings. It has a context. We're going to go into what that context is. So, Israelite God, the Old Testament precursor.
are you a Nighthawk, Cheryl, or do you usually go to bed at a certain point?
The Shema, of course, we looked at last week. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. So we have a Jew that would affirm that, and then we get to John 1:18, and we read this. No one has ever seen God. The only God, catch the wording here. The only God, only kind of suggests one, who is at the Father's side. Now wait a minute. How can you have the only God at the Father's side? Isn't that two? Because one of them is the Father, the other one isn't. God. This one over here is the only God. Just look at the terminology that's being used right in the text. The only God who's at the Father's side has made him known. So it's this one over here has made the Father known. Somehow they're both at the same God. And the peripheral one is actually called the only God here. So how in the world could a Jew, how could a first century Jew, and that's what John was, how can he affirm with the faith of his ancestors, the Shema, God of Israel, Lord our God is one? How can he affirm that and then believe that Jesus was also God? Because Jesus was worshipped. I mean, think about what a conflict that is for a Jew. If a Jew, okay,
Night 801.
we say Jesus died on the cross for my sins, and I accept that he's the Messiah. We're going to sing about him. We're going to worship him. We're going to do all the things to him that we were doing to the God of Israel. But that's okay because it's not a violation of monotheism. Okay, you sort of feel what they're up against, intellectually. How do we do this? How do we parse this? I gave you a little homework last week. Here's where we'll start answering the question: how in the world could they digest this? One of those passages is Genesis 19:24. Now, did anybody from last week figure out what's odd about this verse? You read like a Jewish
You going to bed too, Cheryl?
Distinguish them because it's just kind of freaky that we have Yahweh two times. Yahweh doing something, sending something that came from Yahweh. The wording is just odd. And rabbinical writers in the intertestamental period noticed
No.
this. And this became part, I'm going to show you a lot of other passages tonight. This became part of their compulsion to somehow come up with this two powers in heaven idea so that they could deal with their Bible. They knew the Bible really well. Okay, they didn't miss this. They didn't miss the next one either. What's odd about this one?
You're able to find this trap and cut the wire. You'll be permitted to leave the room alive. This is a guarantee.
They pick it out.
But the following conditions are of the essence, Major. You must actively search for the movie trap, and you must find it and render it unusable. Attempt to turn on the light, and you'll be shot at once.
It revolves around that fascinating subject of the use of person and
If you are
God.
unable to find the trap at the end of 3 hours, or attempt to leave the room
Isn't that
during that
fascinating?
time,
Watch.
the same conditions apply.
We begin with the first person. I have wrought destruction.
We got two stalkers, Cheryl.
At the end of it, that the speaker is Yahweh.
The fellow expert in the art of movie
So
trap
he says, Yahweh says, I have brought destruction among you as when God
special imaginative
destroyed Sodom and
quality.
You actually see this a number of times. Yahweh using both the first person and the third person. It just sounds odd. It sounds like there's some two thing going on. But it's just kind of weird. Like, what do we do with it? Look at this one. I didn't give you this one last week.
When it's a bigger section to paint like this, I sometimes curse myself for using the little fine tip, but it always just applies it thicker than what a paintbrush would. And my goal is to not have to go over everything multiple times like I would a paintbrush. Because I don't paint I probably should paint the canvases white before I start, because then it would be easier to not have to do multiple layers. Because the canvas like pulls the color into it a little bit, but
This is not that rare in the Old Testament. I'm just showing you a few examples of it. But again, rabbis know their text really well, and they see this going on. And so we got to do something with what is going on. This is a book, if you are interested in the subject from a purely Jewish perspective. And I put this in here because if you do have Jewish friends, I told you last week,
I always try to remind myself, usually when I hate something I've painted, Josh loves it, so
try to get your Jewish friend to at least consider Christian theology, Christianity, the claims of Jesus, the gospel.
I've debated doing a couple
Problems are this whole monotheism thing.
like shows we're not as interested in,
Give them something.
because like he suggested this one, so he'll add this one to his collection. But I've debated doing a couple shows that we're not as fond of or something and selling them, or but personally I also don't think they're good enough to be paid for. So I've ended up just making them for Josh, and the Winnie the Pooh one for my sister, and might do one for my mother at some point, but they've just been gifts at this point.
Introduce you to some biblical theological concepts that dovetail with this sort of
And anything I paint Josh wants to keep, so I usually run into that issue whenever I talk about selling one of them.
is with the angel of the Lord, the angel of Yahweh, and then something referred to as the name. Now, if you're a Jew today, or if you know a Jew today,
I do have an art Instagram that I usually post Up until this point, it's been mainly anything I've painted.
Do not say no. You use a substitute. Often it is almost French translation.
It's sitting in my mother's garage until we get the new place, but I have this,
Which is the name.
I think it's 5 drawer dresser, and it started out as white, but I also started this when Oakland was a baby, and it's still not finished. But I've painted Winnie the Pooh on one drawer, and I did
That I didn't care. So it just depends on who you're at. But this is still going on today.
stretching,
Passages. Exodus.
yelling and stretching.
Burning bush. Who's in the bush? Well, believe it or not, the angel is in
But yeah, I started her dresser probably, well, she'll be 5 in September, so
the blazing fire out of a bush. Says Moses.
4 years ago,
Moses says, wow, this is
and
awesome.
it's still not done.
What's going on?
So
Or
up until lately, I haven't really been good at finishing stuff,
now here's the question. Are there two?
and that is a good idea, Cheryl. I could do some
Looks like there's two there.
almost like nursery sets.
The more subtle question is, if the writer cared about there being
Few little canvases per theme or something.
he could have distinguished
I've also debated like doing it on Marketplace and opening it up in the post. Like, if you have any ideas, you can contact me and I can see if it's something I can do.
I am sending an angel. This is God
Because
speaking to Moses.
I can't think of what everybody would want, so
On the way.
that might make it easier, just posting the ones that I've done, and then people could ask me about certain themes or what they'd be interested in. That way I'm not painting a bunch of shit that won't sell or people won't have interest in.
Why won't he pardon your offenses since my name is in him?
Dinosaurs would be a good idea.
It's an odd thing to say to us, to them, a Jew reading this.
I know
Instantly, that what this
with
is saying
Melvin,
is
he wasn't really obsessed with them because he didn't really know what they were. But I painted him a fox for kind of like his nursery wall, and I painted the corner of the wall for him in different patterns, different triangles that were all like blues and greens and
this is very common in
some yellow.
basically, when they get into the land, God told Moses to tell Israel, look, don't worship the Lord your God in a manner like pagans do. Look only to the site that the Lord your God will choose amidst all your tribes as his habitation to establish his name there. And when they get into the land, ultimately, what is going to be the place?
Yeah, I still have that.
His name, his presence.
Somebody's starting to wake up. You're yelling in your sleep, buddy.
Specific to the temple. Now it takes
One moment.
we have the presence of God dwelling in other places. But even before you got Jerusalem, the point was you don't start making altars everywhere. Okay, I'm going to be one place, with the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, but ultimately I'm going to choose a place to put my name. That's where I'm going to dwell. Now, the point is not, again, just to stress the point. God isn't telling Moses, no, when you decide on this spot, or when I tell you what spot it is, I want you to go there, and I want you to take out a real indelible marker, maybe a Sharpie.
Move the paint before I spill the paint. And Jack is awake. He's probably gonna take some bottle and go back to sleep. Bottle. You wanna move your hand? You wanna move your hand? Sitting here chewing on his hands.
May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble, and name the God of Jacob.
Yeah, Little Einsteins. I know one of my nieces was obsessed with these Little Einsteins and Bubble Guppies, I think.
It's not like the Israelites are out there in battle and they see the army coming toward them.
She's 12 now, so
They're gonna say, "Oh yeah,
probably no interest,
I'm
but
gonna run out there and I'm gonna write my
other
name WH."
other people might have interest.
Well, you're gonna get trampled. Okay. But again, the point is not consonants. It's not the name itself. It's the presence of God. Hashem, the name, is another way to refer to God Himself.
Hiding
So
from
that's the
pneumococcal
key.
pneumonia won't help protect you
When
from
God says to Moses,
Prevnar 20
"You're gonna listen to this
Talk to
angel
your healthcare provider.
because my name is in you." That's we in human form.
I think they still put her on TV, and I think Oakland watched it a few times.
I like this one too.
It wasn't like her favorite. She's more like Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol. But I remember that the dog, they call it Bubble Puppy. And I always remember when Oakland was watching it, I was just like, wow, that's so original.
The following program contains mature subject matter.
You stinky little man. You need a new shirt on.
Notice Shem occurs twice. And so the translation I have here is a good translation. If you look what the ESV does, by the name of the Lord of hosts, it really obscures the whole point.
Are you gonna get mad if I burp you?
Mark itself,
Are you gonna get mad if I burp you? You can't eat me. You can't eat me. Oh, good burp. I wasn't even trying for that one. He's getting so big, Cheryl. Yeah, you're getting so tall. Getting so big. Big and bad. Big and bad. Move your hand. Thank you. Move your hand. Move your hand.
Localized the presence of God. So it's very natural that they would look at it and say, Hashem, that's the spot right there. Again, it was associated with the presence of God. Sometimes the name gets described as a person. Behold, the name of the Lord comes from afar in blazing wrath.
There's some shows that she'll watch on TV that I'm like, what the fuck?
Like devouring fire. Again, anthropomorphic language applied to not Yahweh in this case, but the name who is Yahweh.
And
Exodus 23, here we come back.
I don't know, she'll be 5 later this year. So it still interests her and everything, but me sitting there as an adult watching some of these, I'm like, that makes no sense. Or just, I don't know, ripping apart the logic of every show she watches.
Some other, in a moment here, we're going to really sort of twist your mind about this one. I want to hit this first. Deuteronomy 4. This passage here might not seem relevant to what we just said. You have this one, Deuteronomy 4, and then Exodus 33 and Judges 2. So we're going to take these in tandem. Exodus 23, we had a name and an angel. What was the angel's job?
Start yourself.
God says, send an angel before you to what? To lead you to the promised land.
I've tried to get her to watch Scooby-Doo a couple times, but she shows no interest. It's so sad. That was such a good show when I was younger.
My presence. Here, it's the angel. Well, which is it, right? Who led, the Israelites out of Egypt and into the promised land? Was it Yahweh? Was it the angel? Was it his presence? The answer is yes. Okay, it's all of them, and they're all different, but they're the same. Genesis 31, a little bit more about the angel. Because even before Exodus
And I
33,
remember Arthur
you get this
always
name.
being on TV.
Malach Adonai. Malach Yahweh, the angel of the Lord. This is Genesis 31. This is part of the Jacob story.
Oh, you cutie.
Going through the little
Oh, you cutie.
experiment about his flock with Laban. Then the angel of God said to the tree,
stretch your feet. Grab a little ball, but it's funny because it shows like Arthur and stuff that kids will never probably know existed at one point.
Is where Jacob had met Yahweh earlier in his journey. And so when he has the angel there in front of him, he says, I'm the God of Bethel. To the reader, that should do something in your head. That should help you associate God with this particular angel. I'm the God of Bethel. This is probably my favorite. I love Psalm 82 because the Psalm 82 is this might be my favorite verse in the Old Testament. This is really cool. This is where Jacob is blessing the sons of Joseph with Israel. Jacob stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim, said, remember Joseph had Ephraim and Manasseh. He puts his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head.
You sound like you're trying to take a poo-poo, bud.
Although Manasseh was the firstborn,
You sound like you're trying to take a poop on my hand. Not on my hand, but
Jacob says,
in my hand in a way.
in whose ways my
You trying to
fathers
poop on Mom?
ran, rising war. But there is none like the God, the God who has been my shepherd.
Can't even tell if he wants a little bottle or if he's trying to fall asleep.
He's talking about that's right here. An angel who has redeemed me from all. Here's the kicker.
Did he just wake up for a little snack?
Lads, the verb in Hebrew is singular.
He's already got the eyes shut. Completely relaxed.
Which one did he have in mind? Was it God or was it the angel?
He's like, look at my leg.
Yes.
Hey, so according to
Writer
the
fuses the two characters.
He is growing too fast.
An angel is, when it's in Yahweh, is Yahweh, because the essence is in this angel. But yet they're two different characters because they were both in the bush. Again, you get the feeling of this two and yet one, two and yet one, two and yet one. Sounds suspiciously like Christology.
You just wanted to make Mama think he wanted the little bottle.
Judges 6. Here you're gonna see both characters in the same scene. Again, this is the Gideon narrative. An angel of Yahweh came and sat under the terebinth at Ophrah. So remember, who's under the tree? The terebinth tree. That's the angel. Which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. His son Gideon was then beating out wheat inside a wine press in order to keep it safe from Midianites. The angel of the Lord
He keeps stretching right out like he's in the bed, except for he's in my arms.
is with you. So right away you have the angel referring to Yahweh, the third person. Okay, there's a distinction.
1 second, people.
Gideon said to him, please, my lord, if Yahweh knows why are we in this mess? Yahweh turned to him, which is really interesting language, and said, go in this way. Here's the way. Wait a minute. Yahweh turned to him. Let's go back a slide. I thought the angel appeared to him.
Slave owners use it as a cheap source of protein to do this thing.
Yahweh turns to him. Which is why he's an angel. Let's move away.
Old school smuggling.
Let's take a picture because they're basically the same. The same but they're different. Yahweh turns to him and says, go in this mighty words and save Israel from the hand of Midian. And then in verse 16, Yahweh said to him,
Jack has decided that he is already too cool to be partying with Mom.
can't really tell there if he's talking to the angel or Yahweh.
He's like, nope, I'm gonna nap.
My favorite here is to show me a sign.
He's like, I'm tired, I'm gonna nap.
Please do not depart from here until I come and bring you out my presence, said before you. And he said to him, which one? And as he said, okay, I'll stay put. I'll take it back. So Gideon goes and makes himself present. And he brings it to him under the terebinth tree. Okay, and who's at the tree?
He is.
That helps
He's
orient.
such a good baby, though.
The angel of God said to him,
He also then asked us what we think.
During the day, he stays awake longer and just takes shorter naps. But at night, I swear he wakes up, eats, and then he is right back to sleep. Very, very simple dude. Bottle, bum change, out.
Thank you. Out of here. Got another task to do. And then Gideon wakes up and says, well, boy, that was the angel of Yahweh. Gideon said, alas, O Lord God, for now I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face.
And I completely forget what I was saying before he woke up. So
But Yahweh said,
we're back to
We intend to find out the answer to.
awkward silence and painting Yosemite Sam's hat.
but there, what comes?
I did, we had this boat paddle we had found out fishing that I had painted, and it's got a couple little dinosaurs on it, because I painted it kind of in memory of Melvin. Well, in memory of Melvin. And he had this dinosaur onesie that he used to wear, this dinosaur sleeper. So it's got a couple dinosaurs on it, because I took most of my ideas for that painting off of pictures of the clothes he had worn.
Let's see if we can get eyes on Katie's spot. Tony said that she was heading to the airport after that call. There's definitely somebody
This
shooting.
is in our Bible.
Yeah, reason
Can't
to do
just
it.
pretend it's not there.
Characters separated from the
Name is
physical
another way of
And
referring
after I finish Yosemite Sam's hat in a minute, I do believe for characters I just have the big Foghorn Leghorn's head and tail to do, which I just gotta mix up a darker red for that.
this is not
Kind of like a burgundy.
exclusively New Testament concept, because when I put the word up, I know what you're thinking. John
Or like a wine red or burgundy.
became flesh.
Which I usually get that color from mixing a little bit of brown in with red. That darkens it up a little bit. I find whenever I try to add black to any color, it might turn out close to the color I want, but it turns out a very, very shitty version of the color that I want. So I've stopped adding black to darken things up, and I've started adding brown to certain colors to darken them up. Oh my god, I've seen those. Some people use a table leg, but I've seen a lot of them done with like at the end of like a big long wooden staircase. You have that like square banister post or whatever. I've seen a lot of them have that too. And then the ceiling fan blades as the wings. Love those. I am also in the market to acquire a banister post and ceiling fan arms or legs, whatever you want to call them. Blades, yes. Maybe paint one of those up one of these years. And Yosemite Sam's hat still has to dry because Jack woke up, but other than Foghorn Leghorn, the chicken, the characters are almost done. I'm looking at it on the computer because it's delayed a second. It doesn't look too bad on the computer. I always have paint casualties, and I keep seeing this, and it's bugging me. But when I was doing the Simpsons one, I was sitting here, and I kind of dozed off with one of these caps of paint in my hand, Cheryl, and I dropped it, and I woke up to dropping the paint on myself, but the sweater was already a casualty, and it washes It's just like it's dollar store paint from like our Dollarama. I don't know if you guys have this paint down there, but it's washable off hands, my laptop, anything other than clothing, basically. I have come to find out.
Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant hears." And then he gets the bad news about Eli. You go down
I
to the
might
rest of
have
the
to make a
chapter.
coffee.
Look what you read. Samuel grew, and the Lord, Yahweh, was with him, and let none of his words fall to the
Flash
ground.
around
All
with
that
larger than
Elishama
life
knew
legends.
that Samuel was
Night
established
travels.
as a prophet of the Lord.
Then I'm gonna have to make some more milk for Jack after.
Again, at Shiloh, which is where they were,
Open the door
the Lord
to hidden
revealed himself
Mediterranean
to
gems.
Samuel at Shiloh by
Nice travel.
Yeah,
night.
I'm not, I don't know, not exhausted, but
What this passage in and of
like
itself
not even really
is that
tired. But I
Yahweh
feel like sometimes my eyes start to feel more tired at night.
the Word
Probably because
of
I'm looking at
God
the bright ass laptop and the phone and everything.
was God.
And even when I'm not doing this, like tonight I wrote out my little list of what colors I needed to mix for what, because usually if I'm not doing like this little live, which I usually never do, I go back and look at like the inspiration photos and get the colors off there. So I had to make little notes, and then if I was still live, I made little notes for my ideas for the backgrounds and everything.
No ambiguity here. The Word is Yahweh. Truly, I do not know how to speak, for I'm only a boy.
Hiding from him, Yahweh
won't
said,
help protect you from it.
Don't
But
say
for
that,
Avnar 20, you can.
for you
Talk
shall
to
go
your
to
healthcare
all to
provider.
whom I send you. Then the Lord, Yahweh,
Habitat for Humanity, that's a good idea. We have one of those
what's the language of
down in the city closer to my mother. And between that and Value Village, which I know a lot of people shit on Value Village, but it can be useful for some things.
puts forth his hand.
When Oakland was younger, I picked up this little table from there, and it had two chairs with it. She broke one of them when she was younger, but it was $11.99, and the middle of the table had like this round spot that you could lift it out with like a mesh netting below it, so if you were done with your toys you could like clear the table off into the middle part. um but yeah, she broke one of the chairs, the chair that I had her name on it, because I put her name on one and I left the other blank. But one of the chairs got broke and the little netting got broke off the table. But I painted it with, around the middle part I did all the numbers, like 1 to 10 I think, and then around the outer part I did the full alphabet in like big font for her to learn her letters and numbers sitting at that table. That's also in my mother's garage right now. But when we get the new place, there'll be tons of room for that too. What do you think is next for painting? That's a good question. Even when it came to this one, I was kind of looking for something to do, so I told Josh, like, give me an idea and I'll paint it. And he said the Looney Tunes, so I went with like the old retro Looney Tunes writing from when they first made the show. But after I do his head and tail and get the background done for it in a couple days, I honestly don't know.
Everybody knew who Baal was.
No.
This is a passage from
And I think
Greek
we're
literature
mad.
where it has Baal
Mad at Katie and
I don't know.
terrible clouds. Why do I bring this
Didn't
up?
she encourage Katie to pick you up?
Because what the Old Testament writers
What's
tell
Connie got to do
King
with anything?
You're mad about the
is they
divorce.
would
What
say,
did you do
okay,
about
you know this
nothing?
Baal drunk.
At some point, I want to challenge myself and find like.
We need to make a
Oh, I had considered doing The Land Before Time, like the dinosaur movies. I'd considered doing the characters from them.
Yahweh is God.
But
Yahweh
at some point, I want to get like a slightly bigger canvas
do that. It was the
and find something.
out of things like the Baal cycle.
Like I want to keep it cartoon for now, but I thought of doing like a show that had more characters. I debated Family Guy, but I don't know. But I want to find like a show with more characters so that I can challenge myself by having more characters on one canvas and painting them all.
Because you gotta eat. It has to rain. And so the famous confrontation of Elijah.
But I figured with Family Guy it would be easy because I could do like all the characters, not just the main characters, and then kind of have them like standing with their house in the background or something from the show, because I've seen that show. I won't lie, I haven't seen the newest couple seasons because I got away from watching it for a while. So I've missed the last few seasons they've put out, but I used to watch Family Guy all the time. Like, even if I wasn't watching it, it was in the background as background noise.
There have been a couple incidents of vandalism at the shop, guys. Yeah.
So here you have Deuteronomy 33:26. There is none like God, whom Jeshurun rides the heavens to your help from the skies in his majesty. Psalm 68. O kingdoms of the kingdoms of the earth, sing to God, sing praises to the Lord, to Yahweh.
But yeah, because I usually
Psalm 104.
can't remember whether I've posted the Winnie the Pooh one yet, but I usually post, and I'd taken a break from posting for a long time. But after I did the Simpsons one, I've posted pretty much everything I've painted in the last year or two onto my art Instagram. So probably keep painting and stuff, and that way I can. Finding Nemo. I'm gonna write that down. That would be a good idea. I'm gonna make a little side note of Finding Nemo and the dinosaurs, because even painting some cute little dinosaurs for around Jack's crib at the new place, that would be cute. That's also what I love about using the mechanical pencil for the fine print, because I can just, like, I can raise it out so that I can grab more paint on it, but then I can just wipe it off and still write with it and make little notes. It does no damage to the pencil. That and these are cheap. I find cheaper than paintbrushes, because if you buy cheap paintbrushes, they are cheap. But with the mechanical pencils, they're cheap, sold in a bigger quantity, and if I break one, I really don't care.
Is there any doubt who's on that throne? The flame, the wheels, the whole bit. Ezekiel chapter 1. Ezekiel sees the vision of God the Father. The river of fire streamed forth before him. Thousands upon thousands served him. Myriads upon myriads attended him. The court sat, the council sat. Books were open.
Oh, that would be awesome. Dinosaur crib mobile. I have 3 nieces, and lately I've kind of been toying with the idea of doing like a canvas this size with like their name on it and something in the background to go with it, but one of them lives probably an hour and a half max away, and I don't see her too often, so I couldn't honestly tell you what shows or anything she's interested to, so I'd have to ask my brother and get some ideas about that. And then my sister's daughters, she's only about 20 minutes away in the city, but I don't really see or talk to her too much, so she's not the type to appreciate if I did something like that for them. So I also think, why waste my time?
So what is Jesus' answer? To us, it looks like Jesus is just, like, has attention.
And I did the
He's not paying attention.
SpongeBob's like pineapple orange house for Oakland. I always find 6 months exciting. like 6 months is usually they can start to drink water and they can start and try like actual food, whether you start with like baby cereal or like purees or whatever. I love the 6 month stage because you get to see like different faces when they eat food and everything. To counter that, you also have to deal with like different colored shit from them trying different foods. When Oakland hit 6 months, I was so paranoid that she was going to be allergic to different things because my mother, she kept telling me like don't try more than one thing a day and probably stick to one food for a couple days. That way you can tell if there's any allergic reaction. So I was paranoid, but I was also excited to start foods with her. Jack will be 3 months at the end of April. So he's halfway there. And in the past, I want to say the past like half a week to a week, he's started like, he'll kind of like gum the bottle and like gum his soother like he's chewing. And even when he doesn't have those in his mouth, he'll be like chewing air and starting to drool more. So I almost suspect that he's going to be an early teether because he's not quite 3 months until the end of April. And I also did Google it, and apparently teething can start as early as 3 months. So I think he might be an early teether. Yes, teething is, yeah, I'm not gonna lie and say a fun time. It was hell with Oakland. We had teething drops and just about everything you could think of to comfort her, but she was still very, very fussy and uncomfortable during the teething time. Of course, I always tried to remember when I have a tooth, like, I've had to have a couple pulled and shit, but even that and stuff, I try to remember, like, teeth things is never fun. Yeah, teething for about 3 months, so that would have been like 3 months when she started. Yeah, early teether. And I saw a reel one day saying like these 2025, 2026 babies are starting to do everything early, like lifting their heads up and everything else. And I don't know whether it's true because every baby's different, but it's almost like babies seem to be more advanced than people used to think that they are. Fuck you too, dude. But yeah, even Melvin, like she could, or not she, he could like lift his head. Like a few days after birth, like he was starting to like pick his head up and he'd drop it back down because he had no neck support at that time. But yeah, I feel like babies are more advanced than people once thought they were. Because if you Google it and stuff, babies shouldn't be able to see until a certain point. But I swear Melvin and Jack both, like, they could see Josh. Maybe not, like, right away, but they could see pretty early on. Especially, like, the shapes of us moving around and stuff. Evaluate at your own discretion upon analysis. Yeah, very true. But yeah, my mother will always say, like, I didn't think babies could see yet and everything. But then she'll look at Jack and be like, he's definitely looking at you. She said that for months. And I keep telling her, yeah, well, I don't know, half the shit on Google about babies and stuff, it's not like you can tell what a baby's thinking or what they can see and stuff. So I don't know where half the facts and stuff about babies ever came from. Because it's not like they come out of the womb saying like, oh, where are you? I can't see you. So it's hard to tell what they fully can or can't see at what stage. And I know Oak, I was telling Josh earlier, it could be an invisible feeling. But it's not even like, not even that, but Josh would like walk out of the room and everything, and his eyes would be like following, like his head would move where he went, and like kind of like sit there for a minute looking for him almost. So, I don't know where people got facts about babies, but my mother hasn't had to deal with a baby like every day for like 25 years. So I want to say a lot of her information is outdated, and they also change shit about babies all the time. Very true. Yeah, when I had Oakland, I used to call my mom about every little thing, like, why is she doing this? Having having the first is definitely a learning curve. And then once you have a couple, it's kind of like, oh, I recognize that cry, or I recognize what's about to happen, because when he started drooling and everything, I said to Josh, like, I think he's going to be an early teether. And then I Googled it to find out, and Google said that they could start teething at like 3 months, and I was just like, yeah, I think he's going to be an early teether. Like, I had that feeling, and then I had kind of like a little backup support from Google that it's actually possible for them to teeth at 3 months, and then I had the feeling of, oh shit, it's gonna be a very rough 3 months if he's starting teething already.
Well, I searched every possible keyword in the basic Rasmus dictionary. Couple new ones, too. Nothing popped up.
First century Jewish writers speculated a lot about the identity of clue number 2. So we're going to talk about that next week. Because again, prior to the New Testament, prior to Jesus showing up,
It's also, I don't know, we think he's like 15 pounds now, Cheryl, which is, I don't know, it's just cool because like 2 months ago we had these little scrawny like chicken legs, and now my sister calls them thunder thighs because he's getting those little baby rolls and everything. But going from 6 to 15 pounds already, he's an impressive little dude. Human incubator, yes. Very true, technically, also.
Well, there's got to be a logical explanation.
Jews were therefore used to the idea of 2 in 1 before Christianity could embrace the
And even with Jack, I learned a few new things because I didn't think that you could have a breech baby naturally. Like, I didn't have any knowledge about that until they said that they could see his feet, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna end in like a C-section or something. And then they didn't even have time to do that. So it's pretty impressive when you think about it.
Year and a half, maybe? Mother, you and Grace do work right together.
different figures, different persons. By definition, that means that any other LOE talked about last week are not. Okay, that is a direct contradiction.
Yeah, he really did.
Mormonism teach.
He had a due date, he had an induction date, and he decided to come before either one of them were possible. So he fully said, like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Where's your shot going? I'm not picking up after he pitches go like that. You know? He's just doing himself. Why did Katie Barrett fire you last week?
Um, he was born healthy, yep.
Not nice,
Yep.
guys. Right, just kidding, not funny.
But yeah, I always thought if they were gonna come out feet first, then it had to end in a C-section, and I was proven wrong because he was not waiting at all.
Is there a reason why?
And I had also been induced with the first two, Cheryl. And I told Josh, like, at the beginning of Jack's pregnancy, I was just like, I hope I'm induced. Like, I want to be induced because I'm terrified, like, I'm not going to know I'm in labor when it starts to happen or something. Which I know myself so well because I didn't know. I can honestly say that. Because 5:06 that morning, I thought it was like Braxton Hicks contractions or something. And by like 7 o'clock in the morning, Josh had gotten up for a smoke and went outside. And when he came back in, I was standing up out of the bed because I tried to like lay there for a bit and it was just not comfy. So 7 o'clock, I called labor and delivery. And I explained to them, like, I don't know whether this is Braxton Hicks or not. It's been going on since like 5:06. This was 7 o'clock. And they told me to take a couple Tylenol and go back to bed. So I didn't take the Tylenol, but I went and tried to go back to bed. And that didn't happen. I might have dozed like in and out for a few minutes here or there. But it was like 11:30 in the morning, so that was 5 to like 11:30. And 11:30 I was just like, no, like, we gotta go to the hospital. Like, this ain't right. I'm pretty sure today is gonna be the day. But at first I did not know that it was the real thing.
Right. Yeah. I forget that not everybody's weird.
Oh, no, I didn't say it was weird.
Which we got to the hospital at, I think it was 12:34, and he was out, and they were like weighing him and wiping him down by 12:55. So like 21 minutes to spare, I think. It was funny though, because you say like your daughter calls you for everything, Cheryl. I called mom on the way to the hospital, and I was just like, I think I'm in labor. Like, even then, I was still doubting myself and saying like, I think I'm in labor when I was pretty damn sure I was. But the whole drive down, I was talking to her, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have time to get to the hospital. Like this, it's feeling like it's almost time to like push, and yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have time to get to the hospital. And she called like our ambulance service or whatever. She might have called 911 or something. And she explained the situation, and we were on the highway heading for the hospital. And I think one of the scariest moments was when they said the ambulance was 21 minutes out. And he knew, like, we can be at the hospital before 21 minutes, so we're not pulling over to wait for an ambulance for that long. Which was a good call. And mom had me on one phone, and she had her boyfriend's phone in the other hand. And she was like, no, that's not going to work. Like, I could hear her in the background. She was like, that's not going to work. So then I think they dispatched one from like the closest town or something. And they said, okay, the next one we have is like 5 minutes away. And I was like, okay, that's sounding a little better. And they kept telling us, like, you need to pull over, we need to be able to find you and everything. And they needed to know, like, the mile marker and everything as we were driving. So I kept calling out the mile markers on the phone with mom. And then we pulled over right outside of, like, the town she's in. And then even the whole way in the ambulance, like she was talking to me at one point, and I was just like, I can't do this. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not focusing on anything right now, to be honest. So there was a paramedic, I'll never forget, his name was Dave, and he took the phone and he talked to Mom like the whole way to the hospital from where we left. And I remember we were pulling into like the entrance of the hospital, and Mom was still on the phone, and she was like, have you guys started moving yet? She thought we were still sitting on the side of the highway. And Dave was like, yeah, we're pulling into the hospital now. So it didn't take them very long to get to the hospital after that point. Probably going like the max speed that they can go. And I know at one point, actually, I think it was 2 points, like probably in like the higher traffic areas, like where the on ramps were, I heard them turn the sirens on. They had the lights going the full way. Because, I think you've seen the video, like the song Josh made about the highway baby Cheryl, but he had a video of the ambulances. There was 3 of them going down the highway. Because I was in the first one, but they had 2 others with them, just in case they had to deliver on the side of the highway. Because if they had to deliver on the side of the highway, it was a different ambulance, like a special care team in the other one, that they could, if drugs were needed, they could administer the drugs where the normal ambulance couldn't. So, yeah, we took off for the hospital in a row of 3 ambulances, and him following behind with Oakland in the car. And yeah, we got there at 12:34, like 21 minutes later. So by the time he got the car parked, got like down the stairs, like into the hospital, up onto the floor, and got Oakland situated like in a chair or whatever. The nurse watched her for maybe like 5 minutes because she said, like, you can go in now. And he kind of came in the room looking at me. And I remember the only thing I said at first was, he's over there. Because he was already out and they were like cleaning him off and weighing him. And I remember like the look of shock on Josh's face, like he's already out. And he went over and like got pictures of him as they weighed him and everything. Feel the intensity with that song. I remember the intensity. But I don't know. It's impressive what the body can do, because I remember like when they bring the stretcher in from like the ambulance into the room, they like lift the sheet and move you onto the bed. And I remember telling them, because they were about to pick the sheet up and everything, like me and everything up, right as a contraction hit, and I was like, no, like don't touch anything. And the nurse said, like, okay, wait until this contraction's finished. When that finished, I literally like butt scooted onto the other bed so that they didn't have to like lift me over, because I don't know why I was worried about that, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely, I don't know. And I always see posts on Facebook like targeted towards moms and shit. Like, which would you say was the worst part? The contractions, like labor, afterwards? And I can't really think of one part that was that bad, honestly. Which is surprising, because with the first 2, I was induced, I had the epidural, and they had to break my water. With this one, there was no induction, there was no epidural, and there was no, like, they didn't break my water or anything. So, I definitely want to say going naturally versus induction was better in a lot of ways. I'm also terrified of needles, so the first 2 times that I got the epidural, I was terrified of them putting the needle in my back. And for weeks after, I could still feel where they put the epidural in. So I was very glad that I didn't have to have that done, in a way. It was pretty intense. That's one thing I can say. It was a pretty intense day. Oh, I'll still never forget when we were in the ambulance and they said like I can see the foot, or I can feel the foot, because they do like cervical checks and everything. And one of the ladies said like I can feel the foot, and my water hadn't broken or anything. So when she said that, I was, for one, confused as shit, and for two, I was like, oh fuck, he didn't turn the right way and he's still breached. Can I post Josh's like in here? I don't know if I can or not. Let me grab my mouse. Probably if I sign into YouTube. It needs my password. Then I might be able to grab the link.
Was Craig Fields the opponent? I mean, they really saw the case against him.
No, I don't want to set up my home address. No, I don't want to add a profile picture to my Google account. Everything changes anytime I go to log into something.
She wasn't even sure she was going to report him. Does that seem like anything to do?
Actually, it might. But if he was reported, that means they an agency is both a federal and
He'll definitely watch it again. It's, yeah. I can't say I haven't watched it probably like a dozen times, because I don't know, he did good with the song, and it was a good video. The Highway Baby.
Coat on her car. Blood was in his house. Now, her throat was cut with the knife used to remove her hand. So he found that knife.
Copied.
Yeah, we have a lot of evidence against Craig.
Sensing a butt.
Now I just gotta find my own live again.
What did he have against Craig? Well, what did he say when you asked him? Didn't have an answer. I mean, that's the weird thing about him, too. He's kind of a skunk. Oh, you think you're in the office? I think he's protecting somebody.
Yeah, I'm going to post the link if you do want to subscribe to Josh, because we usually go live on his channel. It's very rare for me to do lives.
How much do you think it would be? Just to be murdered?
I feel bad even most of the time when he does them. I'm not really present as I used to be.
For jail protection. Well, there is accessory after the fact. Judge has a little leeway with that. They can use their discretion.
But yeah, if anybody clicks that link and they want to subscribe to Josh's channel, that's where we primarily are. To be honest, Cheryl, I hadn't even posted anything on YouTube when I had met Josh. I had a YouTube for listening to music, but I never did anything with YouTube. So I can say he fully introduced me to the YouTube world. And I always find it funny because you've probably seen him around. Melvin, he's got like the green icon by his channel. He was the first person that I met. Oh shit, maybe it's because it's my live, but the link is there for me. Well, if anybody goes to my channel, Josh's channel is linked at the top of mine. So if you want to go over and give him a sub. I forgot about the vertical thing because it came up a blue link on my phone, and it's clickable on the laptop. I forgot about that too. I'm not very versed in YouTube. Which is funny because I'm usually the one reminding Josh that links aren't clickable and vertical when we were doing the vertical and horizontal at the same time. Me too. That's a good word, tech-tarded. I feel that, especially when it comes to YouTube. I've definitely learned a lot from Josh, but I feel that I'm also very tech-tarded when it comes to that. I will bring you with me. I probably won't say too much in the kitchen because I don't want to wake Oakland up, but I will bring you with me to make a coffee. But yeah, this, I don't know if I can switch this. This wall is what I had painted. And it's got like his little fox. And then I had painted that fox for him. Then there's the little Simpsons one for Josh. But yeah, I painted a few things, and I don't know if you ever saw it, but this is like, it's got the little long neck dinosaurs, and it's it's upside down. But that's the boat paddle I did for Melvin. And I think it's really cute. But Josh did this photo. I can't remember with AI or something, but it made it like black and white. And it was so cute because I showed up one Friday at my mom's. We usually go visit her on Fridays. And Mom had printed it off for us. So that was very cute of Mom to do. Just gonna mute the stream so nobody hears me peeing. Now we gotta find a bug. I'm gonna steal Josh's coffee mug. Where is my metal cup?
He used the term
I would
logos
hope that with
to apply
his wealth of experience and wisdom, that
his
he'll
names
recognize the appropriate use.
into us.
Can I do it without spilling it?
To use a phrase that makes sense to me, but I'm trying to figure out in Greek is logos. The word
And we are
for
back.
word in Aramaic is memra. There are lots of Jewish writers who
I usually wouldn't eat at night, even though I'm usually up most of the night, but I made peanut butter toast.
So memra is the Aramaic word. It occurs widely in Targums or Aramaic translations of the Old Testament. And when they're doing translation, they let their theology fly. They are putting the memra into all sorts of useless.
I always try to put my coffee in one of these
Some passages
metal cups because it's got like a little lid I can close, and even
show you if you have here. So memra
honestly like 3 hours later I've gone to like drink my coffee and it's still like not even warm, but it's almost still hot.
and I clipped some of these from an article on this. Just look at some of these examples. These are Aramaic translations of the Old Testament. Here's the kicker.
Which metal cup with baby is good because it keeps the coffee warm.
If you couldn't read Greek and you couldn't read Hebrew, this is what you're reading. You're reading Aramaic. It's your native language. And they're getting two powers. They're getting both barrels. Because here we have Genesis 3:9. Lord God called them.
Nothing really,
Well, in the Targum,
like nothing really keeps me up. I could drink a coffee and go to sleep. I could drink 6 Red Bull and go to sleep.
it's not God, it's the memory. If you think back to Genesis 3, what in Genesis 3 might give you the feel
None of the energizers work for me.
as a body there? Go back to the passage. Walk through the garden.
What is nice chatting with you all, but I should probably give Rex a breather. Need us cops. Need a break every now and again. Excuse me. Come on, pal.
So, whoever did this translation, you get to
Hey guys,
that
let's hear it from
passage.
Mr. S.
They're visualizing
Ask me for the future. Come on,
just a
man.
bit.
How you
God
guys doing?
Yeah, I know. Exactly what you're thinking. Who's this old guy and what's he gonna be droning on about? Well, good news. First of all, I'm not gonna be talking about algebra, history, or geography, okay? So don't worry about it. Now, guys, I'm here today to talk about what it truly means.
What do you take in your coffee, Cheryl?
That's something you guys are interested in? Let me tell you my story. About a year ago, I was working with the drugs gang unit. One night I responded to a call, routine call, just like any other night, or so I thought. But all of a sudden I found myself in the middle of an ambush. I was being ambushed by a group of violent, ruthless drug dealers.
I'd ask everybody else, but y'all are silent stalkers.
Maybe you've heard of them. Not exactly the best kind. What I thought was going to be a routine night turned into a nightmare. I almost died that night. I still have a bullet in my back to prove it. Took me off the force for good. Is this age appropriate?
So what do you do exactly?
Well, I'm a detective.
And what's your deal? I'm a physicist. So that makes you what? The sidekick?
No, I do digital forensics.
Oh, so you're not a real cop then?
I'm sort of like a cyber detective. It's really the way of the future.
It's like cops have fun.
Not me.
One second.
Because I knew I had to protect the community that I love so much. Just like every single brave member of the SK PD. That is what it means to be a hero. Yeah, I look around this group and I know there's a hero in each and every one of you. I thought I was invincible. Took it a shot and realized that it could all just be over. In that moment, how did you know what to do? Under all that pressure. And all the years.
Also, my apologies if you hear some, I don't know, I call it like a buzzing or a little light noise, Cheryl. Got to make some milk before Jack wakes up.
Silence, buddy. Dysfunctionation. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, cousin. Come on, pal. We're up next.
This is another sort of figure, another term that refers to this embodied deity person. Comes from shakan, which means to dwell. And the verb is used in the Old Testament phrase, God starts talking about tabernacle and temple. He says, he refers to it as the place where I will cause my name to dwell. The place where I will put my name. So shakan is to dwell, and so whatever filled the temple, whatever showed up, whatever was imagined to be in the cloud, spoke of Moses. To some Jews, they used the term Shekinah.
Also, I find it hard to believe that I've been live for an hour and 44 minutes. And I gotta thank you for that, Cheryl, because usually I get super awkward if I'm running the live myself, and I probably would have ended it 10 minutes after it started if you hadn't came in.
They're expecting Rex downtown. It's procedure. Procedure. No, Joe, this is a misunderstanding. You understand, this doesn't have a vital command that looks
I used to collect mini things, like mini foods and everything. And I found a big bag of the ones that I collected the other day, and I'm not sure what to do with them. I always wanted to get like little, like different materials and stuff, and not even like buy a dollhouse, but kind of like build a dollhouse or build like a little kitchen room and put the food in like the cupboards and like build a kitchen out of it, but I've never quite gotten around to it. but I'll grab the bag. There's a few of them people always get a kick out of. I can't remember if it's just those bags or if there's another bag. I knew there was another bag. I got at least like 3 bags of them, so I'll show off a couple of the cooler ones. I've always liked this. It's like a mini, whoopsies. It's like a mini shopping cart, basket, whatever thing. And I don't know if you guys do stovetop at Thanksgiving or anything, or if you make your own. It doesn't open, but there's a little mini lipstick. Be a little cooler if like the top popped off, but some chocolate, little mini chocolate bars. And when I first started collecting these, I was curious what was filled with them, and there's like a little piece of foam in there, so it actually feels like there could be chocolate in them. I think this is either my bag of duplicates. Yeah, there's another stovetop. This is my bag of duplicates, I think. My Velveeta cheese. This is either my bag of doubles or the bag of ones I didn't favor as much. Yeah, that's the least interesting bag. Got the Subway box. And it's weird that a few of these are even like findable in Canada, I always think, because you got the White Castle burger, but we don't have White Castle in Canada. Got the TGI Fridays. I want to say matzo sticks. I don't really know because we also don't have a TGI Fridays in Canada. Whatever Carl's Jr. is, which we also don't have in Canada, but little plastic soda cup. This one's Hardee's, which it's not something I've ever heard of in Canada. So I think these are all American food brands, fast foods. Another White Castle burger. Are they the same? They are the same. I got 2 burgers. 2 burgers to go.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I know. That's great.
Got the good old double pack of shaving cream in the mini size. The super long comes. This one comes out as a wrapper, but it's the super long Sonic hot dog, or chili cheese dog, which we also don't have a Sonic in Canada. Again, Sonic, but we don't have a Sonic in Canada that I know of. This one could be another TGI Fridays Mott's sticks. Oh no, this looks like some chicken wings. Also TGI Fridays, whatever that is. And also Carl's Jr. Maybe you've heard of that, Cheryl. I have not, but it's got some little star fries in it. This is like dumplings, I think. Not really sure. I know a few of the ones that I have collected over the years that are my favorites are the toys. I have no idea what this toy is, but it's like a little mini version of it. We got like the mini pony. That probably would have been something I would have gotten for Christmas as a kid, not gonna lie.
When changing your toothbrush, try to use
And I feel like they released a board game series at some point, because this is like the Exploding Kittens, and it's a card game in real life. And then I have the glow in the dark box, which is a mini version of the Cards Against Humanity expansion pack. Obviously, some Kool-Aid. Woody from Toy Story. That's from one of the newer Disney movies. Can't honestly say that I've seen it, but got the mini toy for it. Who is this? Okay, that is Darth Vader. I never watched any of the Star Wars, so other than looking to find the name on the box, I wouldn't have been able to tell you who it was. Good old Blue's Clues. Josh, he had a short at some point. I can't remember like how long ago, but he put the mini hot dogs in the microwave, and then he cut the video and put the like the full size hot dogs in the microwave and made a little short out of it. None of like the superhero ones ever really like interested me. I think it was just like a collecting game at that point, like building a set, because I know like Bo Peep and Woody, there would have probably been like other Toy Story characters too that they released. And somewhere, which I think it's in a box in the closet. I have this big case because after they released these mini things, they started doing minis that you could make yourself, and it would come with like a resiny liquid and you could actually build it yourself. And I got way more invested in those ones than the collecting of these ones, because these ones are cute to put on a shelf and stuff, but the other ones you could build. Okay, I think this was my like keep bag, and then I was gonna try and sell or get rid of the other ones, but I had the good old mustard in the keep pile because Josh likes mustard, and I got the mustard dispenser too. And the Cool Whip, which I don't know if anybody's seen Family Guy, but whenever I think or say Cool Whip, I always think of the way Stewie says it. He's a weird little dude. Cheese slices. Always gotta have the cheese slices. As I'm, oh yeah, there's one of the other Toy Story characters. I did not like him. He was the bad guy in one of them. I forget which Toy Story that was, but we got the hot dogs that Josh put in the microwave, and then he put the big ones in the microwave to make it look like they grew. And the Littlest Pet Shop, which they've changed over the years and made it too modern. There's a few things that I would have been interested in as a kid, or like gotten for like Christmas as a kid and shit, and they've changed it so much, so now I don't even think I'd buy it for Oakland or anything. Like, if she was interested in it, I'd buy it, but it's not something I'd be like, oh, hey, like, let's go get her that. Peter Pan looks super, I don't know, his face kind of looks just fucked up. He's got no mouth. It won't really zoom in enough, but he's got essentially no mouth. Minnie Mouse car. And somewhere in this bag I should have the Mickey Mouse car. And I got a couple of these foot-long subs, but not only do I have the foot-long, but I also have the 6-inch cold cut. See, I got like the sub and the half sub. And Cheryl, I'm sure you've played this game at some point in your life. Just one moment. I'm gonna keep yapping about not really anything, but that's a weird noise.
Must have had like 50 traffic stops in 2 months. Osgood was up to something back then. He's up to something now. What was this?
I loved playing Sorry as a kid with my dad. I could essentially beat him at any game we played, whether it was cards or not. He used to call me Card Shark because I used to beat him so much that he at one point thought I was cheating, but I didn't cheat, he just taught me well. I do remember playing, I forget what I was playing with my sister once. It was a card game of some sort. And it might have even been something as simple as Go Fish or something. And we were sitting on her bed playing, but she had a mirror behind her, like a little jewelry box with the tiniest mirror that opened up. And she was getting like every card, like guessing everything. And I was at the point where I was like, okay, how the fuck are you doing this? And Mom walked in to talk to her about something and kind of like ratted on her and said, like, are you really using a mirror or something? And then I figured out she was using the mirror from Mom saying that. And I was like, you bitch. You've been cheating this whole time. Oh. Put these back in the closet.
So, a dog can take a bite. You're looking for a credit card charges? I thought this.
And I want to say that's all of them. Of course, I also want to say that those bags I just looked through, I feel like I'm missing a couple minis that I remember having. So that being said, there could be another bag somewhere, which if there is, that's a scary thought, because then I know I have an issue.
Maybe it had something to do with this. Look, before Oscar was hero top.
And like magic, full, well, not full, but almost full bottle of milk for a little dude who just woke up. And I just spilt some milk too. People always say don't cry over spilt milk. It's not worth it until you're making it yourself. Then I'll cry over spilt milk. That one sucks. I remember, I think it was like I think Jack was like 3 weeks old maybe, and I had like a shorter bottle, and I had just filled the bottle, like just pumped the milk, had the milk in the bottle, knocked the bottle off the dresser, lost all of the milk. And I can honestly say that's probably the first time I've ever cried that hard over spilled milk.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Rogers, Canada's best and most reliable 5G plus network. Rogers, we got you.
Somebody is waking up for a bum change and a bottle. Give me 1 sec to do the bum change. Be right back.
Made with the goodness since 1954. This puts the wisdom of God
You are just the cutest. You are just the cutest.
It's hard to believe, but End of the Road Flooring Centers is turning 40 this year.
Ever. Cutest baby boy ever. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyhow.
To celebrate, we're giving away 4 floors. Including laminate, luxury vinyl plank, carpet, and more. Visit your local End of the Road Flooring Center to grab your entry code.
Just 1 second.
No purchase necessary.
You got some tread marks, bud.
Let's get flooring. I don't know what I
Grab a wipe and deal with these tread marks.
Airwick's vibrant fragrances are infused with 2 times more essential oils. The advanced plug-in with the boost fighting and anti-fade technology can keep your home always inviting for up to 60 days. That's a lot of inviting.
I know, darling.
Always fragrant, always inviting.
renovation, meet innovation. the Bath Fitter PermaFit solution. We measure with laser precision and custom manufacture your bath or shower so it fits perfectly over your old one. We install in a day with no demo or mess. For over 40 years, Bath Fitter has been creating durable baths and showers with seamless watertight walls that are crowd-free and easy to clean. It's a smart, custom-made, cost-effective solution, and it's guaranteed for life. Go to bathfitter.com. It only occurs 2 or 3 times in the entire Greek period. It's really bad. So when the New Testament writer quotes it, he's getting it from here. Because this is
Oh, are you smiley?
so it's a reference to
Oh, are you happy guy?
this is cool. So if you can sort of pick it up, he's like
You plan.
radiance,
You little happy smiley dude. I'm gonna do this right now, okay?
and many times in many ways, God spoke to us.
Thank you.
What's the
Thank
message
you.
right here?
You want them this one? Yeah. Yeah, you want them this
I'm
one?
Sarah Suicide. I moved from the city to Prince Edward County, so I'm taking on everything from rundown bars to a kitchen for a Michelin star chef. I've brought my closest friends into the chaos, and I also happen to be working on the biggest renovation of my life. We're turning back now, baby. There is nothing I would rather be doing. Oh my goodness. There is no place I would rather
Oh,
be
here
doing.
we go.
HGTV
Oh,
app.
here we go.
The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, my happy
Sounds like I was
boy.
with the seasoned drugs that have making arrests.
Yeah, my
Logging
happy
evidence
little
so they can
dude.
sell goods himself. Guess that's where the money is. He seems cool with it. If he maybe piercings his pocket. Hey, you think that's how Osgood found himself in that shootout? Yeah. But the Elizabeth working on each man, but Osgood killed them all. Wait a minute.
You had stinky shirt
Who's got a
syndrome
sister?
going on.
Zoe. Maybe she'll talk.
Yeah, you had stinky shirt. Stinky little baby shirt.
You had the party eating leftovers?
Stinky little baby shirt.
Of course I have.
Well, you're going to tell me let the green pick up an angels.
Hey, Sergeant Barry, Jackson, this is the kid I was telling you about.
Because there is
Oh,
no
are we happy?
thing possible.
Hey, so what you got? Okay.
Second person
Hi.
shootings. Have you ever dealt with shows with the shooting dogs? It's really what they are. I don't know what the writer of the Hebrews talked about.
Are you happy, darling?
So that when you get
Sure,
to
if you
Are
want.
you a happy boy?
why you were all frustrated.
He wandered
Fix
over
that
from
arm.
the desk
Get
and
that
I
arm.
let me try this.
There's one God, the Father, Jesus already existed. One God, Jesus Christ.
3 shots. 1, 4, 5.
That broke Mom's back. Changing your bum over there broke Mom's back. Oh my goodness. You can say, Cheryl, I got a new shirt on.
This is not a New Testament invention. It's a Jewish concept.
I don't know if your daughter uses like her milk or formula, Cheryl. But if formula, you probably know what I'm talking about. Their shirt, because they always drink, like they always drip milk, but their shirt always smells so bad when they're dripping the formula on themselves.
This
Your brother and Osgood
white
talked
churches
to me.
probably have heard about this
He can talk about his business. I say,
because you
please,
say, well,
cut hair.
you know, if Jesus is this
It doesn't look like you have any
character,
plans.
we do
Jack.
What do you suggest?
Every now and then Drac will drink one of these little tiny bottles if I don't have mine ready for him. And it makes the shirt stink. Yeah, it gives you stinky shirt syndrome. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Your arm is not positioned right, my darling.
It's used to acquire this Jesus thing. It's
Yeah, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's the worst smell in the world, but the shirt definitely smells once they've dumped some formula on them. You're gonna keep those hands in the way? You're gonna keep those hands in the way? I got the bottle. I got the bottle. He's like, nope. I feel that. I know there's ways to, like, apparently there's ways to bring the supply back and everything, but it can be very stressful. And I know if you're not making, like, if you're not making a lot, it can be very easy for it to dry up, and it's very sad. I would also cry over that. And I don't know about down in the US, but if your guys' like formula prices are as high as ours, I would also definitely cry over that some more. Oh yeah. I haven't I've never drank in any of the teas. I know some people like, there's a tea like if you're going over and you want to induce labor, there's teas, and there's teas for like the milk and everything, but I don't know how much they work. You getting that thumb in your mouth? You're supposed to be putting the bottle. You're supposed to be putting the bottle.
I think God's gonna see some drugs in this street till he's so himself. Well, I haven't really considered Mr. Kopsky part. That was churches. But it's not enough. You'll find out.
I know when I started, I opted for more pumping the milk into like bottles so that Josh can feed him too. But also, I don't know, I was just so worried because there's no way to measure what they're getting from just like straight from it. So I liked having the bottle to measure. Oh, okay. You done drunk more than I thought. Now you gotta burp. Now it's gonna piss you off. I hate burping you that way because it looks like I'm trying to choke you. I'm not though, that's just burping. He's like, I'm milk drunk. Me too, that is one benefit to it. I like having the bottles because then Josh gets that kind of bond to feeding him too. But Cheryl says you so darn cute. Cheryl says you so darn cute.
Look, I don't know how comfortable I am shooting people. It's not what sports about. We use guns for.
He's like, and I am checking out back to Sleepyland. As I said earlier, he's such a simple guy. He literally gets up, gets a bum change. This time I changed his shirt because I noticed he had one of those little bottles earlier and his shirt was definitely smelling the formula smell. But bottle, some burps, and he's right back to sleep at night.
Must be really daunting, considering breaking into a school.
Which I'm also very thankful for, because some babies really get their days and nights mixed up, which I can honestly say he hasn't at all. He's very good at sleeping at night. Did your feet grow while you were sleeping? Did your feet grow? Your feet look bigger. They look longer. I know. He's getting the little chunky rolls. No, you're not chunky. You're just getting chunky rolls. We went up to see Josh's boss the other day so that he could see Jack and everything. And I made a joke to his wife when Jack was laying on their table on his blanket. I was like, "You probably haven't had this many rolls on your table since Thanksgiving."
The Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise. Before he became a superstar, with 39 albums, 20 top 40 hits, and 120.
But yeah, at night I want to say
He's a kid from Brooklyn.
it's at 1:30. He'll wake up, drink about 40 to 50 mils, and he's back out. Which 40 to 50? Yeah, he'll wake up and drink like 2 ounces every like 2 hours maybe. If he slept for longer though, like pumping and everything, I want to say like if it's been a while, I can get the bottle up to like 210, like way up here. And if he's had like that long, like between 3 to 5 hours sleep, like he usually does between like I want to say 10 and 3 at night, he'll wake up and he'll polish off that whole bottle. Just hit me in the face. You hit me in the face. He's like, I don't care, I'm sleeping. He's like, that's a you problem. Usually after he's out, I don't know, during the nighttime, like no more than like 5 to 10 minutes, I'll usually hold him and everything, because then after 5 to 10 minutes, when I go to put him in the bassinet, he'll wake right back up. But if it's usually around 5 minutes, like he's sleeping now, usually around like 5 minutes or so, I can put him right down to sleepy again. That, oh, Jesus. I startled him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, little dude. He keeps going to let the head fall back into my elbow and then putting it up again. You're okay, my elbow's there. Yeah. He's really started getting like his giggle and his laugh going during the day. But I love that when I kiss him and he's asleep, he still does that little like sleepy smile. Can you get another one?
The spirit of this person refers to the temple as my sanctuary. So I know this is God,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be God in more than one, manifestation or the physical manifestation. If that's the case, you might actually have the spirit
I know he gives those little sleepy smirks. Just 1 second.
over to the other angels. We talk about these
Oh,
things
you're such a good
again.
boy.
Is so good. Even someone who only did nursing, it's memories, it's
Like I said
culture,
last
it's
time, you have to
history.
sort of triangulate some
Keep it
things to get
fresh, keep it
three.
local.
In the Old Testament, two is pretty easy, but three sort of enters the discussion. But now, this sort of thing
The
is
following
actually
program contains
used,
mature
I
subject
believe, in the
matter.
New Testament.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Oftentimes, you'll see critics of Trinitarianism or, again, this traditional Christian view of a Godhead say, give me the verse where it shows God is three in one. I want to see that verse. There are things, you can sort of go to, like the Great Commission. What is the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Well, if they weren't all equal, why would you say that? That sort of thing. And you can go
I
to
know we both
Acts,
thought that his
where
bassinet would last him like a lot longer. But even when he's like up at the top, he's got maybe like a foot or less of space if he full stretches out.
and those are legitimate. Those are legitimate strategies for
So
showing that the Spirit is
by like
contained
3 months,
as the
definitely by 4 months, he'll be outgrown that thing,
New Testament writers
which is kind of sad.
have and use what we've been talking about. Now, in the Old Testament, again, you get the two-ness thing going on. You have Yahweh,
I gotta fix
and
this
then this
side of
sort
my
of
hair
second
because it's driving me
Yahweh is
crazy.
often visible.
And then I gotta make some burgundy so I can say I at least finished the characters tonight
Yet at the same time, God and the angel can show up at the same time
on
and
the
say the
short side.
same.
Yeah, Josh is
Like Genesis 48, when
I want
Jacob
to say he's like 6'2" or 6'3", like he's tall. So
may the angel
Jack's already fallen. He's definitely gonna be taller than I am.
together. You can't
But I even say that about Oakland. She's gonna be taller than I am.
So you get this two going on. And then the spirit, again, sometimes is brought into the discussion.
I
That's
am
the whole
vertically challenged when it comes to height.
I just want to suggest to you, we spent, again, part of week 2 and part of week 3 talking about how the
At
New
least that's what
Testament
I call it.
uses
Sounds
the
better
idea
than
of the
short.
invisible and the visible Yahweh. You have the second person that's embodied, taking a lot of that language and applying it to Jesus. So again, we saw the two-ness there and the strategy for showing Father, Son, same but yet different. The New Testament does something
At
interesting.
his 2 month appointment, which
Jesus
he
already
hasn't had yet because I didn't want him getting his needles like right at 2 months, and my doctor usually tries to do it like, oh, okay, he turns 2 months on the 30th, we'll do it the 31st.
as that thought in
So
the
I
New
wanted to give him
Testament.
a little bit of time,
New
just
Testament writers who do the same thing between
I don't know, be a
Jesus and
couple
the
weeks
Spirit.
older before they were shoving his
That
needles
is,
into him and
the
stuff.
Spirit
So when he goes for his
Jesus.
2 month appointment, we'll get to
And
see
there's
how long he is
certain passages
now.
like,
And they
if
always
you've ever
write
noticed
down
these
like the
verses,
past measurements too, so we'll get
but
to
in Acts
see
16,
how much he's grown in between
the Spirit is
appointments, which is
referred to
always
as the
cool.
Spirit of Jesus.
And we'll get like an
And then
accurate
what is
weight
the
because
Spirit
so far
in
we've
terms of
been weighing
identity
him
to
like
Jesus?
Josh will hop on the scale and then I'll pass him Jack and we'll
Therefore, you must
kind
have
of do the
heard
calculation to figure out how much he
seeing
weighs.
and identity.
And by doing that, he's around
Romans 8,
15
the Spirit
pounds.
of God is referred to as the Spirit of Christ. And Galatians 4, God sent the Spirit of His Son.
I
Here's
want to
again, we're used to
say
thinking of the Holy Spirit.
the women in my family are
Not only does
generally
God
all
describe in the Old
around
Testament the
the
Spirit
same
being,
height.
there are
My
actual
grandmother,
passages
she's
that identify
she's
the
not
Spirit
she's
being
gonna be
as the
95
Spirit of Jesus.
in
When
August, I think.
Jesus ascends,
But
he
she's
descends
naturally shrunk with age.
from the Father
But my mom, my
on a
sisters, and
cloud
I
to
want to
descend.
say like
The
we
Spirit,
might be an inch
I
off
can say
from each
things
other,
like,
but
where
we're
two or three of you are
all
gathered,
the same
I'm in
height.
your midst. And we get this idea of being indwelled by the Spirit. All these things sort of coordinate together. And you get sort of a little bit extra clue here when the Spirit Himself is referred to and identified with Jesus, the Spirit of Christ, the Spirit of Jesus, not just God, but of business.
You start
So you
with
have this
something
same
like a
sort of
dime bag here and
threeness
there,
working
it hits
here,
the scumbag
and it
here, and
builds off
before you
this
know it,
two.
you're helping
So
kill
we've
these
got these
police in
two
accomplice the
identified,
murder.
and
Yeah,
these
I'm
two
never been mad
identified,
at all good about
and
the
the
dog,
central
but
figure
that's
is
just me.
Jesus.
Oh, I don't
He
know.
is the glue that
Looks
unites
like the key made
the
the move on
threesome
Pearson.
together. You come out, even if you
You
don't have
take
a
over his work. You
verse
tell me
that
there
blesses
was a
the three
second
persons,
coming.
you
Was that
come
you?
out
I wasn't there.
with
I
three
didn't know.
different figures
I grew up
co-identified
in
with
What
South
up,
each other.
six people?
traffic stops
Six
and
people in
everything
here, and
closed
only
down.
Cheryl and me are
Strategy
talking. How
is a little
rude.
bit of a
Right now,
different
condition,
tack.
you're doing errand boy, doing whatever he
Now,
told you to do. Not for what you're saying, not for murder.
if that's New Testament theology, okay, if we have a Trinity,
She could though, cause
then you have Jesus as being
some kids too, like
what about
I want to say that's like
John
Oakland.
10?
Like she wasn't short,
So you have
short, but I thought she was on the shorter side, like at birth and everything. And then I can't remember how many months she was, but she went through a growth spurt, and I was just like, okay, like you're gonna be one of the tallest kids in your class.
practically anybody would agree.
Today,
Because I think that
And
Psalm
even now,
89
she's already up to like
John's use of
higher than my waist. Like she's definitely gonna be taller than I am. She's not even 5 yet, and she's half of me.
what's going on there in John, the strategy behind it is to reinforce Jesus' status as God incarnate. Okay, well, what can be controversial about that, Mike?
I keep seeing the German Shepherd on this TV show, and I want one.
Yeah, it is. What's controversial about
Love
it
big
is
dogs.
how you have to look at Psalm 82 to get there. Now, Psalm 82
I'm
is a
trying to convince Josh that when we move into the new place, we should get a cat.
has taken his place in the divine council in
Because
the
I
midst
want a cat.
of God's also Elohim. He holds judgment. So we talked about this passage.
And not even like a cat. I wanna kind of get like a kitten. Like it doesn't have to be like a 6 or 8 week old kitten, but I want to get like a fairly young kitten. That way, he or she can grow up with Jack and like be around and be used to like our lifestyle and everything else. Cause nothing against older cats, but some older cats, like they're set in their way. If they've been outside and inside, they'll want to be outside and inside. And I want to train them to be like indoor and everything like that. So I want to get one that's not too old. And I love black cats, so if I could find a black or a black and white cat, that would be awesome.
Because a strong step goes beyond a single solution. It's an expert
Exactly. Animal to grow up with Jack.
for you. There are shoe stores, there are clinics.
We got the dog, and like when Oakland has Taylor's toys and stuff, she'll play with her a little bit, but she'll play a lot more with Josh. Like if Josh is outside throwing something for her, of course Oakland can't throw very far. But if she's outside playing with Josh, she'll be really into it. So want to get a cat for the kids to play with.
Sons of the Most High, nevertheless like men, you will die. You will fall like any prince. We talked a little bit about what's going on in the psalm.
it's hard to
The biblical Israelites had, let's just go back here,
provide your new prescription and
had
get
a view
40%
based on
off
Deuteronomy
lenses.
32, 8, and 9,
Nobody cares for eyes more
that
than Pearl.
Yahweh punished humanity
Is your garden trying to tell you
after the
something?
Babel event by dispersing the nations, but not only just
100%.
dispersing the nations. Deuteronomy 32, 8, 9 says, when the Most High divided the nations, he divided them up according to the number of the sons of God.
The only thing I worry about with having cats, which it's not a reason to not get one, but I don't know, I worry about them like trying to sleep in the crib or his car seat, and it wouldn't be like the worst thing, but I worry about him and like the cat hair and everything else. Worry about everything with that boy. I'm worrying about things and we don't even have a cat yet. I'm already thinking of what could go wrong.
And I'm going to put you under the authority of other divine beings in my administration. I'm not going to be your personal God anymore.
And I forgot about my coffee already. That is why I'm glad I have it in a metal cup.
My granddaughter is so determined and driven. Her great-great-grandmother Marie is like that too. I learned through ancestry.
It's still hot, and when I remember to close the little lid on it, it stays even hotter.
Know your family story.
This leads
I don't know about your granddaughter, but Jack started getting like the cradle cap on his head lately. And he had a bath the other day, which he loved. And Mom told me put some baby oil on it. Like put a little few drops of baby oil and like loosen it up and everything. I did that, and the cradle cap he had on his forehead, like proceeding down, gone. In like the front of his hairline, I was able to take a little comb, and it had softened up like the front part of it, so that I got that off too. So, if there's anybody out there watching, struggling with cradle cap on a newborn, baby oil. Just don't get it in their eyes, or their mouth, or their nose. Yeah, I'm down to about half a coffee. I'll probably go make another one. Mineral oil. I've never heard of that before. Itchy foot. I can't honestly say I've ever heard of mineral oil. We got 6 people watching and only me and Cheryl talking, and we only got 4 thumbs up out of 6 people. And they're probably not even the 6 people that gave us the thumbs up. Like, I think I've heard of mineral oil itself, but I don't think I've ever heard of it in relation to, like, cradle cap or babies or anything. So I couldn't tell you what it's really for, to be honest, but the one thing I do hate about the TV being on the background noise and everything is some nights I'll get distracted by it and like start watching it for a second. And the past few mornings that I've been watching it, I've noticed they play the same damn episodes of every show. This one's Hudson and Rex, and I swear they're solving the same murder they've solved 3 mornings in a row. Okay. I'll have to see if they sell that in our stores. The baby oil works too, but just for shits and giggles to see if it's like a US thing. I'll have to look for that when I'm there. True. Oakland had it really bad. Like even the baby oil and like washing her head and everything, there wasn't. She had it for a while. Oh, I gotta make some burgundy and stop procrastinating so that I can at least say I got the characters done. Then I can start drawing out the backgrounds. I keep watching the dog on Hudson and Rex crawling in a window. I don't know why. I saw the episode 3 times already. It's not dry. It's pretty dry. I keep looking at these caps to figure out which ones have wet paint and which ones I can mix a paint in. I gotta make burgundy, so I need red and brown. And I'm only gonna add a few drops of each because I don't need a big amount and I don't want extra paint.
You're under arrest for the murder of your brother.
I'm the victim that you just got for yourself.
Zoe, I know you did Detective Peter.
Because I always end up with extra damn paint.
I said you are gods. If he called them gods, to whom the word
My
God
man,
came,
thanks for
the
explaining.
scripture cannot be broken.
Okay.
You say of him
Now I
whom the
see
Father
where
God
it's going.
sent into the world, you're
You know, that's saved my
blaspheming
life
because
today.
I said I am the Son of
It
God.
kind of means there's only one. I had a date tonight. I was thinking of ordering. I had a American not. Now do you all
Most
right?
people
I was just
take what's called the moral view of this.
and I just
They believe that the
I
Elohim
think that's almost a good color.
are just people. So what that means is, if you go back here,
Be a good match from what I remember.
the quotation I said ye are gods,
Coconut
God
oil.
is talking to people.
I used to, like, my hair, it's getting long now. In 2020, I had buzzed it all off. Like, all right down as short as Josh's or shorter. And coconut oil in the hair. There was this little, I forget what brand it is, but there was a hair line down here that had this coconut oil, like a little squirt bottle. And just like rubbing that through my hair and everything, it made it so healthy, and it made it, I think it made it grow too.
I and my Father are one. Is everybody else one with the Father too? It just doesn't make any sense. Frankly, it's a lame argument if that's what you mean. So don't be upset because, you know, other humans can do this too.
I agree there, Cheryl.
We talked about that in verse 1. About monotheism and all this stuff. And again, my answer to that is you haven't really thought well of Elohim.
I know a lot of people that, I don't know, they try like 10 different shampoos or something, like trying to get smooth hair or trying to grow their hair. And you know, every different shampoo, oh, it does this or it does that. And anybody I knew, I would just be like, coconut oil. Rub some in your hair and it will do wonders.
This is a very published version, so feel free to take it if you want. This passage is a description of a dispute where
I do find though, like, all oil is like runnier and stuff, but I find coconut oil, it's a little thicker than like baby oil, if you know what I mean.
go to the passage and look.
Like, not thick, but I find baby oil, it's like the consistency of water.
Elohim, really, referring to God, the singular God.
This
You
program is
never have
available
in
in
the entirety
described
of the Old
video.
Testament.
I must be missing comments because I didn't see anybody spam
Program contains
caps or emojis, but Nightbot just timed somebody out.
Jethro says to Moses,
Cheryl, what am I missing?
you know, like this is just too much for you. You're gonna, you spend the whole day, you know, talking about should you be wearing
Oh,
this,
yeah, heavily taken.
this, like that. I mean, just give yourself a break, get some help. And Moses says, you know, that's a great idea. So he appoints elders. They're never called Elohim in the passage. All you gotta do is go read it. They're never called that. But it's assumed that these guys
Oh,
judging matters of the law.
Cheryl, stop. I'm taken. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for
These guys existed in Israel.
letting me know what it said.
And help Moses decide matters of the law. And you know, eventually that became the Sanhedrin, like in the New Testament, this group of people who helped with this. So the assumption is these guys must be what's referred to here in Exodus 22. After all, it's 4 chapters after Exodus 18. So, these must be the gods that
More paper,
Psalm
please,
82 is
Brian?
talking about. Now think about it. You don't need no Hebrew for this. If you go back to Psalm 82,
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a headache.
If the ring don't make it permanent, the tattoo does.
counts
I got his name done right there a few years ago, Cheryl.
the last time I checked,
It's probably my favorite tattoo is the
no Jewish
the
leadership
hand one.
ever
Have you heard anything about the
had meetings in
You
the
going to the
heavens.
police? I sent you
Not
an
only
email.
that,
Then I got
Psalm 82
Oakland's on
is the
that arm.
crime that they're being accused of. The Elohim.
Maybe he brought this on himself.
They have judged
Oakland's
the
was my
nations
third one
by
that I got
Elohim.
done, I think.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
At no time in the entire Old Testament
Yeah.
are
Oakland's was my
Jews
third
called
tattoo that I
over
got ever.
in a judgeship role, a leadership role, an administrative role of all the other nations. In fact, they're forbidden from contact with the other nations. It's exactly the opposite situation. So it just doesn't make sense on a number of levels.
My first tattoo is probably my least favorite tattoo.
You're right. Argument number one is kind of dumb.
Hey, you could get a tattoo. Cover them up.
Maybe it's just Jews in general that are Elohim, and we're going to latch on to this phrase: those to whom the word of
Not that
God
you should or have to or anything. I'm always just a fan of tattoos, and I know
receiving the law
for scars nowadays, a lot of people like
Psalm 82 says, doesn't it
after
say
it
there
heals
the
and
law that
everything,
those
they'll
to
get
whom the word
them
of God keep?
tattooed.
Well, wait a minute. What's actually quoted
Sweet list. Thanks. My mom gave it to me.
in a Sinai scene quoted? No, it's Psalm 82. So if it's not about the law, not only that, but if you go to Psalm 82, there's no mention of Sinai. Just read the whole, it's not a long psalm, just read the psalm. There's no mention of Sinai. And in the Sinai accounts, maybe we'll go back and look at the Sinai accounts. Guess what? Jews are never called Elohim there either. So again, it sort of like sounds like it might work, but when you really think about it, it just vaporizes. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. But you can see why it's important. Because again, you have the problem is
You
again,
go, Cheryl. You time them all out.
what do I do with that? I think that people
I don't know. I wouldn't say I have like a full on lisp or anything. I notice it with some words myself, but
last resort, Jews are
I
called my
wouldn't really
son
call it a
by
lisp.
God. In other words, the nation is referred to as my son. And this is when Moses gets his commission from God. God says,
And
to Pharaoh, and this is what you
out of my whole life, that's the first time I've ever been told that I have a lisp. So I'm gonna go with it's not that bad if it's there.
referred to as God's son. Yeah, we understand why they're God's offspring and all that.
Heard a lot of insults, but that's never been one of them.
Because
I'm a
again,
Janitor reported a
it's not
12-year-old
about
autistic
Sinai.
son, Brian
Nothing in
Mission.
John 10 is
Janitor
about
Little.
Sinai.
Take a look at this.
And again, the Elohim of Psalm 82 are in the heavens, so there's really
See, Brian,
no
this is on the street.
connection here. But
And the
this
mother
is
got
still
in for a
important.
second.
Jews are
Brian
called
waits on
my
the
son
sidewalk.
by God. Who else in the Old Testament is called the Son of God?
I love saying that though. When anybody tries to insult you with anything like a lisp or anything, I just love turning around and being like, "Thanks, my mom gave it to me."
This is one.
You know, the
There are
business
actually two
Sandy
other
Schaefer,
passages
according
that's
to
the
the
same
ID found
person.
in the first sheet
It's
drop.
called
The lawyer right here
God
wasn't
gives
wrong.
the person who says my son.
And the abductor? No idea. Van's
They
plate
can't,
was stolen off of a car in Flatland
king of
3
Israel.
years ago. I put a bowler out on similar vans, which is super common.
So now think about that.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
Jesus
So here,
is in this
You been
conversation with
banned.
running away. Oh,
and he's
God,
claiming,
out. So we
according to
can't see
John
the face of
10:30,
the abductor.
my
Boy,
father
man,
are one. Then he quotes Psalm 82 and says, hey, you guys are upset, but here you go, Psalm 82:6. Why are you upset that I refer to myself as the Son of God?
by the boy.
It's weird not being able to see some of the messages because when I'm in Josh's chats and everything, like I'll click the all messages button and shit, but when you're running the live stream, apparently that isn't an option. And even though I had turned YouTube on my laptop to be able to see the chat, it's not an option there to turn on all messages or anything. So anything rude or anything like that, you've seen it and I haven't.
Mother found
Not
me
the king
pictures
who's
in
left.
drawing
Who
inside.
is there anybody
Where's in there now?
There we go. Foghorn Leghorn is done.
Before we begin search.
It looks a little brown, but I swear it's burgundy.
You're gonna find this. Job 1 and 2 mean the
Megan's
sons of
parents
God.
supposed to see the ransom.
But this is the only other place where they're Elohim and the sons of the Most High are connected.
I can say I got all the characters done.
He's claiming to be more than human. Because the Elohim of Psalm 82
I'll
are
never
not
leave
human.
Brian alone.
That's where he's starting the debate.
When Brian was young,
Okay, I've just said I and my father are one.
then he got the diagnosis of autism.
I got that, but I had to make the joke about it.
Doesn't your own Bible say
I don't swing that way.
Elohim are sons of God that are not human?
Him finding his own way of communicating.
If they know their Bible,
One day,
that's true. Are you claiming to be more than human? Jesus. Well, like legend,
Oh,
God is
fallen.
I and the Father are one. Can't you guys even think this far?
detail. I access it all from memory.
It's just a starting point.
Well, I'm gonna go with Trolls Do Sleep because it's 5 a.m. and we really haven't had to deal with that many. But
It's from Psalm
maybe they'll start emerging and make it interesting.
and they're not humans. Again, cross-reference here. Reasons why to eliminate the other view. Again, these other human are not
9 people.
over the nations. To snoop through
When the numbers go up, I always think it's gonna be a troll.
gods. If you look at it, go look at Psalm 82 if you're not turning there. If you're still in John 10, put a finger in it. Just walk through the passage. Who is the speaker? The speaker is God. God is looking
5 people. They got called out.
he's upset. And he looks at them, these non-human beings, and says, I said you're gods and sons of the Most High. All of you, nevertheless, like humans, you will die. You're going to die like any man and fall like any prince. God is the speaker accusing divine beings of messing up. It says, I'm going to strip away your immortality. So when Jesus inserts himself or uses this passage, he's claiming, first of all, to be
It's weird. I have the option to create a poll on the laptop.
Follow precisely, or there will be
I'm
consequences.
establishing the point that there are sons of God.
Well, evidently it's someone who's trying to restore
That's point
money.
number one.
You haven't seen a successful place.
Now, what does he do then? Or what's the effect?
Check out the other
Here are the
negative.
two views
What's
contrasted.
that? Somebody's trying to hurt you by
The
taking
human
negative.
view. And here's what I'm going to argue for here.
No one defines us that much.
The word of God that came is not a reference to the law at Sinai. It is the actual utterance out of God's mouth in Psalm 82. That's the word of God who's coming
Of course.
to the ones hearing it, the Elohim.
It could also be someone who's the
Love it. Don't mind the paint mess, Cheryl. And you're on the top fan list because you've been here the whole time.
The effect is that
But I can see all your stupid names.
there are yet non-human divine
Gives me a little list.
business. Third, if you link that statement with John 10:30 and the verses that follow,
Walking,
Jesus is claiming
thinking to
to be divine.
And what happened with this thing?
If I'm not human, what would I be?
She wouldn't tell us.
She's an
Okay,
extremely
if I'm not
private
human,
person. We've always respected that.
do the math, fellas.
How did Jenny take the
Do the
break?
math, Pharisees. If I'm
It's
not
like her
human,
kid
I'm
says,
divine.
Megan keeps
So he
these
goes to
things to
Psalm
herself.
82
But who
to
takes
establish this
Jenny's
point.
stuff well?
Now, if you look at the passage, look at what he's doing.
Oh, there is a button for that. Oh shit, I can see everything, I think.
They get mad at him.
I didn't know that was an option either, but apparently on the computer it is.
If he was claiming
Because I know,
just
like when I'm watching Josh's and shit, it'll tell me who like the top fan is, whether it's like me, you, 801 or whatever. But I can't see like a full list
actually saying, why would they be mad?
of people.
He's not saying that.
And apparently I can switch it from top chat to live chat where all messages are available. So now that I've figured out how to turn that on,
The Father is in me.
I should be able to see any other troll that decides to
They're about as dramatic
be a troll.
especially this one. If they know their Old Testament, the stuff we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks,
But yeah, I can barely do YouTube like down here. I've never
remember the whole thing about the name being
never even watched a live stream on my laptop and stuff, so that's a new learning curve.
I'm the number 2 guy back in your Old Testament.
Now, what did I have planned for backgrounds?
In between, he quotes Psalm 82. And his point is, look, first we have to establish that
I think I'm gonna start with Yosemite Sam.
non-humans who are sons of God. But I'm more than that. The Father is in me, and I in him. Now, if they know Psalm 82, and they do, because they're not happy. I mean, this doesn't solve anything for them. They're still mad at him. If they know Psalm 82, they know that not only
I'm also better on my phone. I've never really,
I'm more than human,
like, I have a laptop, but I've never really, other than if I have to type up like a Word document or something for something,
am I like
I've never really used my laptop for anything.
Psalm 82 that I really am is the Lord of the council.
He's been through a lot. Any idea how long you've been like
Yahweh
this?
in flesh, right here in front of you.
No. My brother says he'll come out of it when he's ready. Okay.
That's why he's using Psalm 82. He's
Megan's
establishing
parents said that she broke up with a boyfriend
divine
for
nature.
an outfit.
It is more user friendly. I have to agree on that.
More than
I will do.
I'm even more than anybody in heaven. Okay? Let's just up the ante a little bit.
Oh, he's doing everything he can.
Instead of shrinking back and saying, I'm just like you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Don't be mad
Poor
at me.
woman.
He just goes the other direction.
I will
Just
let you know.
does it about face and gives it to him both barrels.
Right.
So, another way of putting it is logic. The problem is, for the Jews, not for us, but the problem is Jesus.
Me too, Cheryl.
So, here's his chain of thinking. Other non-humans are Elohim. I'm justifying my claim by showing you that. I'm more than human. I also claimed in 1030 to be the one with the Father, so we're co-identified in some way. All this is provable by my works. Look back here. For which of the works do you stone me? And of course, they're going to deny
What
that.
can you tell us about Danny?
It's not that. We're stoning you for blasphemy.
I don't know how good it's gonna turn out when I actually go to do it, but I imagined him kind of like with a little sun and like a cactus out in the desert. Because in a lot of the pictures I looked up of Yosemite Sam, he's like, I don't know, get his little gun out by like the desert or something. So
I think that they were already having
throw a little cactus in there, make it look desert-y. I don't think desert-y is a word, but it's okay. I'm challenged by words too.
Basically, I have a biblical precedent, and I work miracles. What else would you like? You know,
Daffy Duck.
the idea that I'm more than human. They're sons of God, not just people.
I need a card. I need a card.
I'm one with the Father.
Get my wallet out.
And I work miracles. Any questions? You know, he's boxing the men with this. Because they know Psalm 82.
If I need a straight line, I usually just
Because
whip out my wallet, grab a random card, and then I have my straight line.
so, by way of summary, I want to get through the summary. If you have any questions, just generally today. For 4 weeks, I've tried to get you. You know, there's a lot more to it than this, but the Old Testament has, again, the categories that we think of, that we attribute to, that we associate with Christianity. Christianity is very Jewish in that respect. This is why we accept the Old Testament as well as the New. One grows out of the other. Promises are made in one and fulfilled in the other. Okay, you know all that. But I want you to get to think about the fact that some of these ideas that are so intimately
8
associated with
people watching. What's up, 8 people?
come out of the blue. They don't just come out of the ether. There's something going on here that ties them
diabetes
to what God said
with Dexcom
did
G7.
earlier. It's not like, we have like a shift. There's like there's a new planet, there's a new God, or there's a new something, or whatever. That's the old, this is the new. There's never the twain shall meet. The twain means a lot. It means an awful lot. Even something as fundamental as this. Christians saw the second
When I looked at Daffy Duck, I saw a lot of pictures of him standing by this tree that says like rabbit season on a sign. So I'm gonna try and kind of mimic that one. I just kind of do like a very simple sketch on all of them and then throw some paint on them and bring them to life.
could be willing to be put to death rather than say Caesar is God, and then in the next breath say, I'm going to pray to Jesus, and not feel at all like he violated monotheism. One was a clear violation, the other was, of course it's not. There's a reason why they can think that in their heads, and it's because they have these categories in the Old Testament that Caesar didn't fall into. Again, we looked at Old Testament trajectories about some of the things other religions say.
With the Bathfitter
The
Permafit
word in
solution,
John
we
1:1 is
measure
not
with
any
laser
God.
precision and
He's
custom
the Word.
manufacture your bath or shower,
And
so it fits
we looked at
perfectly over
passages
your
in the
old
Old
one.
Testament where the
We
word
install
was
in a
Yahweh.
day with no demo or
I
mess.
mean, it says it
For
point
over
blank.
40
Jeremiah
years,
1 is a great
Bathfitter has
passage to
benefited
go
from
to.
durable baths and
The
showers
word of the
with
Lord
seamless
came unto
watertight
Jeremiah,
walls that are grout-free
saying,
and easy to clean.
Jeremiah
It's a smart,
addresses the word as
custom-made,
Yahweh.
cost-effective solution. And it's
And then in
guaranteed
verse
for
9,
life.
the word of
Go
the
to
Lord reached out his
bathfitter.com.
hand and touched me. I mean, come on. How much clearer can you get? That's like reading
This weekend
something in the New
for
Testament.
4 days, save over $1,100 on this modular five-piece series.
Yahweh also has no equal.
What's up,
Elohim on the
7
scales.
people?
Jesus and the divine sons of God are not brotherly
The
equals.
numbers keep
This
bouncing
is
around, but there's nobody there.
because Mormons love Psalm 82. There are Mormons on the internet that, like they're fans of because I'm into Psalm 82, and they like that.
Either that or they're too scared to talk to us, Cheryl.
And you have to sort of slap them on the wrist occasionally and say, look, you guys are thinking this. You can't
The
possibly
following
think that.
program contains mature subject matter. Viewer
And get that
discretion
from the
is
data.
advised.
Because Yahweh is an Elohim, but no other Elohim or Yahweh. He doesn't have equal brothers, and if he doesn't have equal brothers, neither does Jesus.
32 years old,
It's
graduated
not
University of
terribly
Toronto and
complicated.
Oxford Hall. Called the bar 4 years
But
ago.
again, this is
Moved here when he's
this
up
is
at
the
the
parting
position
of the ways between
This is about the
what we would call an evangelical Christianity, an Orthodox view, of Trinitarianism, and something
Does he only
that
know the
would
prompting?
be
Any place
our
that he might
Mormon
have taken notes.
theology.
None that I could find. And we've been interviewing
Psalm
Chinese
82
colleagues
provides no
in the area.
justification for
Anything
humans
else?
being divine. Now,
Track Jamie's cell phone,
this is a
which
little
starts
word
just after
for,
10 a.m.
again,
What about the
my
vehicle?
detractors out there in video land.
Cassette stolen vehicles, rental companies, any
My
place where
question
it's
to you is, why aren't you a
Yeah,
Mormon?
I'm already on it, and I've been tracking
Because if you believe
Jamie and
humans
Megan's
are Elohim,
bank card transactions.
you're about that far away.
But what about the text from kidnappers?
You're
It was
about
sent
that
via an anonymous
far
texting
away
site. He also uses voice,
from
burner
embracing
apps,
a
and
cardinal
text,
idea
burner phone.
in Mormon theology.
Okay, keep
Mormon
working on it.
theology teaches that
And
Yahweh
dig
was once
deeper
a
into
man,
the missing money from the law firm. There may be something
and
there.
you, as believers,
There are forensic
when you're
results.
glorified, you will eventually become God, just like Yahweh is. I mean, that is not what Psalm 82 says. But if you're looking at Psalm 82 and you're somehow importing humanity into
Chickens.
Elohim language, you're about that close.
Meaningful evidence we recovered are huge strands of brown
You're
hair
about that close.
we've been taught to
So I would
abductor.
encourage you to re-examine that idea.
There's tens of
Not
thousands
only
of
doesn't
other
it make
evidence.
sense in
So
John 10,
nothing directly linked to
but it sort of
So,
drifts
any word from the kidnapper?
over
not yet.
into that other territory.
I think your best bet is drawing
So
info
that was the
by
last
the
one.
description of the abductor. Because then we can either eliminate Jamie as a person of interest or we make him our prime suspect.
Agreed, but how do we get him communicating again?
Autistic children often react positively to animals, especially dogs.
And Rex did come Brian when we found him. Maybe he can help him again.
Think you could do that? We've never had a pet. Just being a single mom, it never seemed like too much. But Brian seemed to connect with Rex.
I mean, I saw it firsthand. Rex calmed your son when he was overwhelmed.
And he still is overwhelmed.
Have a good day, Cheryl.
Really traumatic experience. I would be for any kid. He needs time to process and calm down.
But the truth is, we might not have that much time. Time to find Megan alive. And Rex can help Brian process faster and find that calm.
I have an
I'll tell him bye when he wakes up.
So I have a little understanding of how hard this must be for you. But I think you know that Brian would want to help if he could. He's a good kid and sensitive, artistic. I think growing up, he'll want to know that he did everything he could.
And Rex can help him get there.
You really think he can help Brian? He sure could use a friend right now. I laid your pencils out for you. You see here?
Thank you for doing this.
I know it's hard. Yeah, even if it works, it's gonna take time, of course.
Rex, you stay here with Sarah. Help Brian. Just, do what you can, okay? Go on.
He's giving him space. He seems to know
Well,
what he's doing.
it has been fun, people, but I'm probably going to end this.